Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Art Productions. What a start to the season that we've had so far. Two incredible finishes, two different winners. And tonight we get to test the skills out at a track that is slippy and slidey, and drivers are still trying to get control over. It's been a handful all evening long during practice, but it's time for race time as the drivers get prepared for the picture perfect 180 presented by cnorrisphoto.com. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining with us once again on Monday night here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me here this evening is Zach Hall. And Zach just came off of Atlanta. What a race it was. Got to see the drivers handle a very hot course. Tonight, it's a little bit foggy. It's a lot cooler, and they get to test out Homestead Miami Speedway here this evening.
Yeah, we got the hot, slick conditions, of course, of Atlanta last week. We were seeing some record-breaking numbers there, of course. Like you said, a lot cooler conditions, a little bit of fog here at Homestead, Miami. And I tell you what, it's not going to take away from the racing that we saw last week, because this racing here this week, I think, could be possibly even better just due to this track being so multi-groove when it comes to the racing. So I'm going to be excited to see how these drivers attack it here and really go at it for another mile-and-a-half intermediate battle.
It's going to be also interesting on how drivers want to mentally prepare for this race. Again, there is no stage break racing the drivers will be having this evening, but it is a shorter amount of laps that we're going to be running than our last mile-and-a-half course at Atlanta last week. Last week, we ran 140 laps here. Tonight, going to be 120 laps only. And the fuel numbers we were given was around 55 laps on fuel. So this race, if it stays green from the very start to the end, could have a strategy call of do you stay for a one-stop or march for a two-stop strategy. It's going to be fun to watch. Again, that's if we stay clean and green. But with the way we're seeing this track and the transition of the exits to the corners, it could be a very tough course for this evening. As the drivers are setting in, we've got about 41 drivers that have registered currently. There's still 4 minutes left in practice before we get into qualifying, where if we have more than 43 drivers, that's when we'll have knockout qualifying. We've got a couple of new names that are going to be testing their fates here this evening. Merrick Watchorn, Patrick Hernandez, and Maurice Gomillion going to be making their Trinity Racing League debut as those three drivers are merging in and going to be partnering up with Gary Wells, making the team of Apex going to be Apex Motorsports. They're going to be the team, I think, to watch out on. How are they going to emerge into this group with a couple of names that we've seen in the past race in the original league, you could say, of the Trinity Racing League of the NAISCC days? I'm curious on how they're going to fray with some drivers that we've seen grow, developing it faster over those past couple of years.
It's going to be very interesting for sure. Definitely some familiar names from the past. So great to see that always with familiar faces coming back and joining here. And I think they joined at the perfect time. Trinity is personally right now at the top of the peak it can be, and we're going to see, I think, some top peak racing here tonight with the addition of that group, not only, but also the new drivers that we've seen come to Trinity, and also the drivers transition from the past leagues. So it has been a pleasure so far to see these drivers go to battle, and I think 41 cars we have so far signed up, we're going to have quite a field on our hands.
Couple of drivers entering tonight with penalties. So Christopher Norris going to be having an L1 penalty for not holding his brake properly in one of the incidences he was involved with last week at Atlanta. So he'll start the end of the line. Other drivers that will start the end of the line: Tyler Horn due to ARCA braking, Gary Wells due to having issues with himself, with braking issues as well. He will be starting at the end of the line. And then Jarrett Talmadge, due to a lot of looked like to be restart violations late in last week's race. The last restart was cleared as an okay, but the restarts before that was not, and was given an end of the line penalty here this evening. So 4 drivers will be sent to the end of the line. I think for Jarrett Talmadge, interesting to see the driver that won last week. He's already going to have a very tough task here this evening.
A little bit of climb out of, that's for sure, for Jared. I mean, but we saw his speed last week at Atlanta. We've seen it in the past at ISRC, so expect that 27 to be a quick march through the field, and you never know, he could be the very one trying to battle for another win. So you got to watch out for those restarts. You got to make sure you're clean with those, no changing of excess speed or anything like that. And I guess Unfortunately, he's going to have to restart back there, but I think the biggest thing he could take away is that last restart was good, because if not, that could have took the win away from him. So that is definitely something these drivers got to watch out for. You got to stay within those rules and make sure you're not making those slight little mistakes to try to gain that little bit of an edge.
Here is going to be our top 5 drivers, currently with practice ending here in just a little bit over a minute. Jared Talmadge, top of the board with a 32.848 time, is his fastest. Michael Miller in the 99 is second fastest. Ryan Kelly going to be third fastest. Cody Reed in the 88, fourth fastest. And Jackson Anderson in the 08 going to be the fifth fastest driver. Sixth fastest is Merrick Watchhorn with Nolan Hicks. Seventh fastest. Eighth is number 8 of Noah Steele, with Ethan Delaire going to be in ninth fastest in the 22, and Samuel S. Garcia going to be 10th fastest out there on track. I mean, Zach, a couple of those names we've seen here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting be quick. Seeing the likes of Michael Miller, I'm excited for this 99. We saw him in the old league on Monday nights in the ISRC Truck Series. Have pace. It was the finishes that he really couldn't find. I'm curious if tonight is going to be the night that he can outshine. And then some of the new names that we haven't really called here in a while, or for myself, I haven't called. Jackson Anderson, Merrick Watchhorn. How well are they going to perform with this second mile-and-a-half race here tonight for Jackson Anderson, and first debut race for Merrick Watchhorn?
Definitely going to be watching out for those new names, Sam. I look at someone like a Jackson Anderson, you're bringing up, that has had speed at every single track we went to, but last week in Atlanta, it just seemed like the speed was there, but got mired back, in the race, and just could never find his way back forward. So we'll see if he can continue to show speed, and maybe it'll progress from here tonight. But practice is going to come to an end, and now the drivers are going to have to show their true speed, because you want to put your best laps in here. We've seen how valuable track position was just last week at Atlanta.
Practice is over. It's still time for drivers to register in if they would like to show up for this race, if they've already registered for the league. But 41 drivers here, meaning everyone will make the race at this current time. And we'll see, as those drivers I listed off being the fastest in practice, well, it might have been assisted due to being in the draft. Now it's time to see what your true pace is like racing by yourself. Welcome again. If you're just joining us to the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production, you're watching these Xfinity vehicles running at Homestead, Miami, as it is now qualifying. Drivers are given 5 minutes to put down their fastest time, but only 2 laps to do so. If you brush to the outside wall, go into the grass, lose control, or drift at any moment, you could see your lap time be invalidated. As drivers that we're talking of note, qualifying could be very important, especially on the fact of you don't want to have to try to race through track position, but Zach, qualifying is going to be a very risky game because of the line that you have to run here this evening.
That is for sure. You're seeing right here Gary Wells, lap number 1, up against the boards there in turn number 1 and 2, trying to carry as much momentum as possible. We'll see what he does down there in 3 and 4. This may be, as some would say, a warm-up lap, but I have seen some drivers put their fast laps on the first time, so we'll have to see what lap does produce the best ones. But again, ripping the top here to the 3 and 4, we'll see what this lap's going to produce for Gary. That's going to be a 33.64 for him on the board, and that's about 3/10 off of what he ran in practice. So I think he's going to see a little bit of a pickup there, and we'll see if he can find that speed as he's dropped down to that lower groove in the middle line on that seam, that more traditional line, I would say, to maybe find the shorter distance and just a little more speed.
As drivers are attempting to go for the Blazing Fast TV pull award, as if currently it's the 22 of Ethan Delaire going to be top of the board. Ryan Ferraro, who stole away the pull award last week at Atlanta in a shocking manner, still third fastest is Eric Kralik in the 01. Talked to him at the end of last week. Gary Wells now got top of the board, but the 01 machine, when we talked to him, it felt like Homestead's not his strongest track, but we've seen in the past he can have some quite quick qualifying runs. As the 01 continues to fall down, it's Ryan Kelly top of the board with Ryan Bird second. Here's now Ali Fonseca on his second lap, going to be up to second place. And it seems like that second lap is where all the speed is mounting up. Merrick Watchhorn up to third, as Joshua Stovall, we saw on our old Monday night series in the ISRC Truck Series. This one was quick, willing to steal the shows at time. Can he steal it once more as he's on lap number 1 here of qualifying?
Again, similar move to what we saw from Gary Wells, up against the wall there, down in turn 1 on this first lap. And the interesting thing that I've seen, Ryan Kelly, our top time setter right now, he ran that on his first lap. So it is possible to get it done. That first lap is Stovall floating with disaster there. Don't know if he exactly caught the wall, and because you definitely don't want to get that 0x, but Looks like that lap did count, so a 33.51 will put him 18th on the board. But what he's doing a little different than I've seen from others. He's running this top side down here in 1 and 2 on the fast lap. So we'll see if he can find some pickup up top.
Well, that's really going to hurt Stovall here is the fact as Noah Steele takes the top of the board. That wiggle was off the exit of turn 4. That's going to hurt both his first and second lap as he now ducks down low to the inside. This is lap number 2 that we're right on board with. Joshua Stovall goes to the inside through 3 and 4. Interesting to see. A lot of drivers ran that top side to have their quickest time, as Michael Miller's going to be up to 10th, but it's 5th place for Stovall, a 33.144 for himself, but it's Noah Steele currently top of the board with just about a little bit over a minute left in qualifying. And here's Larry Yingling, who's trying to steal the show, as Jackson Anderson, one of those notable drivers we talked about earlier. He's top of the board now.
First driver to break into the 32-second bracket also. So Jackson Anderson up front, really putting a great lap in. As you see Yingling there, 33.88 on his first. This is definitely a give up from him. See if he can drop to the bottom side and find the speed. Is Jarrett Talmadge going to take the top spot there? Remember, he does have that penalty like Sam brought up, but he will top the board for the time being.
The driver, I didn't even think about throwing his name out in this hat. That's going to be the 81 and Jesse Newsom in 3rd place for himself. Where is Larry Yingling going to place himself, though, for the 67? He was 35th fastest on that first lap. It was a 33.885. You got to find a little bit less than a second to get the pole time for yourself. Taking it slow the first round, but was the second one strong enough for pole? No, it's not, but good enough for a top 10. Larry Yingling is going to be 6th on the board. Now it's going to be the 17 of Chris Stitz, but this might be his only lap, and will it count for a quick one? First lap got invalidated, and Stitz, the second one, not fast at all. It's 26th fastest. And that was a 33.3661. Isaac Shelley also out there on track, but his lap will not count. 3 drivers, no times are in, and qualifying officially coming to a close. Congratulations, Jarrett Talmadge, taking the pole award here tonight. That will be your 3rd different race with our 3rd different pole sitter. It was Cody Reed, Ryan Ferraro, and now add Jarrett Talmadge to the pole award winners here in the Trinity Racing League. Again, like Zach said, penalty was given to the 27. He will start at the end of the line, but what a great start for himself. As we are entering into a 5-minute warm-up period, this gives us time to take a deeper look of how the season has been so far. From points to the schedule, let's start things off with where the point standings line up. And top of the board is going to be the driver who just got the pole here tonight. That is Jarrett Talmadge, riding off the momentum of his win last week. Zach, Jarrett's one of the few drivers who's gotten a top 5 at every race we ran so far this season, and this is a great start for the 27.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, he's just continuing right where he left off from the Truck Series. I mean, he is looking so consistent, and that's what Jarrett, I think, has boasted very, very well. Is, hasn't always won the most races, but has always been very consistent. So we'll see if some drivers can take an opportunity to gain on him here tonight, as Jarrett's going to have to go to the rear of the field, of course, here. So we'll see if anybody can gain on him, but we'll also have some time to see if Jarrett can climb his way back up. So early good start for him, but others I think are going to look to try to make the rebound here tonight with the second true race, of pace, we could say.
And the second driver who has finished in the top 5 for all the races so far this season, Danny Cochran in the 202 machine. He currently is 2nd in points. And both drivers also are the only 2 drivers in the league to finish inside of the top 10 as well for both races. So what an accomplishment for both of their starts to their Trinity Racing League careers. As we move away from point standings, let's take a look at the schedule. We really weren't able to take a deep look at it last week, but we'll take a deep look at it this go around. Tonight, we're at Homestead. Next week, we take our first short track run at Iowa. Then we're right back to 1.5 mile racing as we head to Kentucky. Then we head to our first road course at Chicago Street Course. Then we head to Michigan, another short track at Martinsville. That's going to be a tough one to watch with Chicagoland, finishing out our 11-race regular season before we get to our final 5 chase races. Talladega, going to be Charlotte, Richmond, Auto Club, and Las Vegas to finish out the season. Zach, what a schedule we have upon us. We have here going to be, a quick season, not the longest one we've ever seen, but certainly a lot of driver favorite tracks we have in front of us.
I'd have to agree. This is an excellent schedule. I'm so excited. We got Iowa next week. That is the older scan too. We're not running the new scan with the half new payment, half old payment. So that'll be interesting to see how the older Iowa works with these Xfinity cars. Of course, Kentucky, not a very often ran track, that newer version of Kentucky. So it doesn't get seen a lot. And then we'll go to Chicago Street Course, where I'm super excited to see who can tackle that. Street course racing in a stock car, you can't beat that.
Especially with Xfinity car. I haven't seen a lot of street course racing with this vehicle. I'm excited for it as well. As that will finish up our deep look at the schedule, the season of House of the Points. Now we take a look at who we feel like are personal drivers to watch out for. We made these picks before qualifying of drivers to watch out for. And I'm going to start things off with a hot hand. Jared Talmadge, he continues with the hot streak. This 27 is going to have a tough road starting at the end of the line. 41 drivers expected to race here this evening, but watch out for this 27. He's going to try to rip through this field as quickly as possible, and he is expected to be a threat by the end of this race. But Zach, who do you have as a driver to watch out for?
I'm going to be going with the number 17 here, 9 of Chris Stitz. I just have a feeling that he's going to be a driver that is able to work his way up on these longer runs. He is starting back at 26. Didn't seem like qualifying went his way, but I think this driver is going to be definitely one you want to watch out for as we get closer down to that lap 120 mark.
And then our third member of our crew running productions for us in the background, that's Robert Moyer Jr. And Robert's going to be going with Ryan Kelly, qualified 8th. And we were talking before we went live in the broadcast. Ryan Kelly's not a bad pick. I mean, this 30 machine we've seen on Wednesday nights with the WSSR VRS Cup Series be good at tracks that it's all about saving your tires. You're going to feel it tonight. Could be a night for that 30 machine to sneak his way in. Kind of similar to the way that he was sneaking his way forward last week at Atlanta.
Definitely. I think he's always a guy you just can't count out, especially a high tire wear. Like you said, Sam, he is just so good at managing his stuff. So I think at one point, if we don't see it here tonight, at some point in the season, we're going to see a Ryan Kelly masterclass.
Well, these drivers are ready for action, and so are we. We first want to say thank you to all the major sponsors, but first and foremost, thank you to today's race sponsor. Today's race is the Picture Perfect 180. It is brought to you by cnorrisphoto.com. Capture the speed, the moment, and the stories that make motorsports unforgettable. From NASCAR action to local events, Christopher Norris delivers professional photography with a creative touch. Check out his work at cnorrisphoto.com and follow along on Instagram at cnorris.07 to see his latest shots from the track and beyond. Thank you so much to thank Christopher Norris for sponsoring today's race. As the drivers get prepared for tonight's action, they're starting to grid up, and it's time to see where our 41 drivers are entering in this evening. Start on the pole. Going to be grabbing yourself the Blazing Fast TV Pole Award. Give it to Jared Talmadge and the 27. Congratulations on taking the pole award. As we take a look at our Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios starting grid. Second place going to be Jackson Anderson in the 08, with Jesse Newsom starting in third in the 81. Noah Steele going to be starting in fourth place, with Vincent Sora, another major threat to watch out for here tonight, in fifth, with Larry Yingling sixth. Seventh is Nolan Hicks, with Ryan Kelly, Robert's pick, going to be in eighth place. Malik Kuntz going to be starting in ninth, and finishing out our top 10, it's the one of Joshua Stovall.
The 24 Ali Fonseca is going to start in the 11th position alongside him in 12th. It's going to be the 91 of Merrick Watchhorn. 13th is going to go to the 66 of Justin T. Campbell. 14th is going to be the 85 of Samuel Garcia. Michael Miller going to start in the 15th position, with 16th going to the 88 of Cody Reed. The 13 of Cedric Hunter here going to start in 17th. 18th is going to go to the 80 of Justin Sipes. The 19th position held by Joshua Kanata. And rounding out our top 20 is the 3 of Thomas Green.
21st positions, the 49 of Ryan Bird. Mason Cassidy missing out on starting last week's race. He will be showing up for this evening, starting in 22nd position for the 82. Gary Wells, he's got some teammates to work with this evening. He's no longer alone, but he will start in the middle of the pack in 23rd place. Aaron Kralik in the 01 will start in 24th, with Ethan Delaire all the way back in 25th position. Chris Stitt, Zach's pick, going to be in 26th place for the 17. 27th is the 6 of Justin Smith, with Ryan Ferraro in the 10, starting all the way back in 28th position. Another driver making their debut run, it's the 94 of Maurice Gomillion. And finishing out our top 30, a driver who's finished in the top 10 and top 5 every race this season can continue the streak. We'll find out as the 02 of Danny Cochran starts all the way back in 30th position.
In 31st, it's going to be the 77 of Isaac Reimer. Alongside him in 32nd, it's going to be the 44 of Mark Labertone. 33rd is going to be the 84 of Austin Halsey with Stephen Clapp holding 34th. 35th is going to be Cody Smith with Martin G. Morales going to be in 36th. 37th is going to be Tyler Horn. 38th here position is going to go to Travis Downing. 39th, Isaac Shelley. 40th is going to go to Colton Jordan. And rounding out our field here and making his debut tonight is, and 41st is Patrick Hernandez.
41 drivers expected to race here tonight. Again, a couple of drivers have to get sent to the end of the line. Maurice going to be Christopher Norris, Tyler Horn, Gary Wells, and Jarrett Talmadge. As you see those drivers dropping to the apron and fading backwards. Tonight's race is going to be 120 laps. Bonus point for the driver that is leading at the halfway of this race. So that's at the end of lap 60. No fast repairs, 4 sets of tires, and fuel window 55 laps. So the drivers, if they focus on fuel saving and we stay green all the way through, could make this race a one-stop, but I'm expecting the majority of the field to turn this race into a two-stopper. Up front, the field's ready. So are we. It's Jackson Anderson, Jesse Newsom. It's time to go racing up front as green flag is out for the picture-perfect 180 presented by cnorrisphoto.com. Down into turn number 1. Anderson looks good on the outside. Newsom trying to keep up for the 81 machine, but the 08 too strong on the outside as he muscles his way into first.
Looks like for the time being, Newsom going to be able to keep it alongside all the way down here to 3 and 4, and Anderson having the advantage on the outside, just not able to clear for the time being through the center 3 and 4 for lap number 1. Newsom gets a little bit loose. He's going to slide back here and slide in the second as Vincent Sora is going to hold third.
A couple of other drivers throughout the field slipping and sliding, and that's going to be the big factor of this evening. How can you control that loose sensation while keeping top speed momentum off the exit of the corner? As the drivers up front, single file for our top 4, 3 wide, battling for 5th place as everyone is cycling their way forward. It's Larry Yingling, Malik Kuntz, and Noah Steele going to be staying 3 wide for that 5th place position. But Zach, I mean, seeing the field, everyone's going to be searching for grip all throughout tonight. But it's good for Anderson, for now Newsom as well, as they try to putter their way forward. But if you're stuck in the middle of the field, where is a safe place? Oh no, there is no safe place as driver spun around. That's the 99 of Michael Miller who goes for a spill.
And he went head first, it looked like, into that barrier. I'm not sure if that car actually going to come out with no damage other than some rear end damage. So going to catch that wall with the rear end, but could have been much worse to have getting damage to the front end. But we'll see exactly what happens here, Sam, because this was unfortunately right in the middle of the pack.
Bouncing off the wall and across the nose. That's going to be Justin Sipes in the 80 machine. His nose was there, but bouncing off the wall was the 99 of Miller. It just ricochets across the nose as we'll take another look at it. Seeing the field, everyone scattering to find positioning. The 99 finally getting in line, following Cody Reed ahead of him. He's got Samuel S. Garcia on the 85 behind him. There's that 80. It's going to be that Bass Pro Shops running low, but it's just a simple bounce off the wall and 2 drivers colliding for the same real estate.
That it was, Sam. Yeah, just a simple mistake from the 99 ended up compounding into worse because of the contact between him and Sipes. And Sipes nowhere for him to go. I mean, just has that 99 come across his nose. So just a major racing incident right there, but unfortunately it's going to bring some damage to both of those race cars. It's going to be the question is how bad did it hurt Sipes' race car, especially when it comes to the nose of that race car. So from what I'm seeing, looks fine, but you never know sometimes with these takes.
As also what we saw in Daytona, drivers could take a beating and their vehicles could be all right to work with. Might take a little bit to get those repairs finished up, but Miller's still out on track. One driver did miss the initial start of the race. We could have had 42 drivers racing here this evening, but it's going to be Colton Jordan, who was not able to get his vehicle out on track in time. So only 41 drivers going to be racing it out. A few drivers coming into pit road to get repairs done, maybe top off on fuel. Zach, due to the fact of the window we were looking at, if a caution came out and you pitted, you could turn this race into a one-stop if we move forward. So I think this is a call for a lot of drivers. Enter pit road, top off on fuel, and turn this race into a one-stop. And those drivers going to be led by Aaron Krolick down in 33rd position with Ryan Ferraro, Cody Smith, Mark Morales, Justin Sipes, as well as Gary Wells, Patrick Hernandez, Michael Miller, and Mark Labertone. Going to be getting into pit road, some for damage repair, but majority just topping off on fuel.
That's, I think, a excellent strategy. If you're outside the top 30, there was no reason not to come down there. Just come down and put as much fuel as you can in that fuel cell, because like you said, Sam, if you can make this thing a one stop and these other drivers have to either save to make the one stop or just have to go to the two stop, I just think the one stop is going to win all day long when it comes to the length of the race. So we'll get to see exactly how this plays out, but here we go with the choose as drivers looking to pick where they want to be on these restarts.
And drivers were notified that NASCAR logo, it is the C, and that black seam is your midway point. You got to make sure you have your full car on left or right of that C and seam. I think one of the drivers up front might have been a little close on that number and spot you wanted to be, but the choose rule gives drivers opportunities to gain on positions. If they see a bunch of drivers go inside or outside, they can go the opposite, but also gives you the chance to be in the most preferred lane, which I feel like, Zach, that's the thing that helps a lot of drivers, is finding what's the preferred lane that usually moves forward.
That is exactly right, Sam. You know, you got to really pick and choose your lanes here, especially at Homestead. This is a place where both lanes can move. I've seen restarts where the bottom will get a better run. I've seen restarts where the top will get a better run. So it gives you that options and that variety. It's just really who's in your line, and hopefully no mistakes are made, because that can be easily lead to you having to lift off the throttle.
As the field is set and ready, so are we up in the booth. Get back to green flag racing action. Your race 3 of the season of the Trinity Racing League. We got to see a fantastic Daytona race, Atlanta as well, and here tonight. A little rough start, but we know it's going to get some green flag action at some point, as green flag is back out in the air for the picture perfect 180 presented by cnorrisphoto.com. It's Jackson Anderson with a great start for himself up front, but it's going to be Newsom going to be fading just slightly as he starts to see some more challengers emerging behind that 81 machine.
That they are. Is this going to be Merrick Watts, or sorry, the likes of Nolan Hicks right there in the 86 machine, right behind Vincent Sora, as Sora was trying to take a look on that 81 down in the one. But Hicks thought about taking his opportunity also, as now we have Larry Yingling ripping that top side, trying to find some momentum as drivers farther back to the middle of the field, just fighting for any space they can get.
Top side, low side, in the middle, 3 defined different seams you're looking for in this progressive banking course. As here's going to be the 28 of Tyler Horn, who had to start the end of the line here this evening, trying to find a way to march his way forward if possible, as he's got Ryan Ferraro, Travis Downing, and the 43 racing with one another. But seeing drivers, when you come to Homestead, some like to bring out that a little bit of Miami vibes and bring out some special schemes, and that's what the 24 is doing. Wally Fonseca inside of the top 10 and trying to show off that scheme with the best of his abilities. As fastest lap, Hot Lap Designs fastest lap currently gonna go to your leader of Jackson Anderson.
Anderson really having some strong pace out front, but you can see this racing right here around that 13th position where Thomas Green's located. Justin Campbell is now, Green's going to take a look to the inside here of the 1 and the 66. This might be 3 wide, but Green's going to think better of it, back out of that situation as they stay side by side here. This has been some of the best racing around the track. You also got Cody Reed right there in 10th, right in front of him. So a very good stacked group of drivers right here.
A lot of drivers, and that's the one thing, as Anderson puts down another fastest lap of the race with the Trinity Racing League, and the fact that it's brought in so many different drivers from different leagues that we've covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and drivers outside of the bubble that we broadcast from. We're seeing some of the best coming out and wanting to test their skills in a car that you traditionally don't see very often, the Xfinity car. Well, it has a lot of character, like we've said the last few weeks, but it certainly brings out the best in drivers on their abilities, their skills to keep pace and also keep themselves out of trouble as we continue to stay side by side with us battling just outside of the top 10. It just continues to be a stacked side-by-side window. And Zach, I mean, there's really no signs of drivers having an advantage or disadvantage on the outside or inside.
You're exactly right, Sam. It seems like both lanes are working very, very well, and that's what I've seen in practice too. I was watching these guys in they were out there utilizing every single lane on this racetrack because there's some three-wide action farther back in the group around 12th and 10th right now as Ryan Kelly's right in the middle of it, even with Noah Steele. So some great racing going on back there with everybody, like you said, Sam, spreading around, and it's just really even times from every single line.
And if you watch us on Wednesday nights with the next-gen vehicles in the WSSR VRS Cup Series, you're seeing, when it's three wide, drivers sometimes can get themselves in trouble with dirty air, but here tonight, dirty air doesn't seem to be the biggest issue. It's figuring out how you can keep the best pace moving forward, and drivers get very antsy around one another, especially off the exit of the corner, as seeing some rear ends a little bit skewed and sideways off the exit, as very low to the inside. That's going to be the 13 to Cedric Hunter, and that might be a mechanical issue for the 13. As he will stay low, caution flag is out, and Zach, I think that might have been a VR issue, where he just couldn't see anything and just got out of the way.
Yeah, you're exactly right. He had this similar thing happen about a week ago for him, so it is unfortunate to see. I know he's been having some issues with that, and Cedric there doing the good thing at least to know, hey, I need to get left and get out of everybody's way so I don't cause anything, as he's going to already disconnect from the server. So tough to see him bring out a yellow with this, but it seemed like some type of issue definitely popped up.
In Homestead, Miami, a race course on iRacing, one of the rare runs where usually at other courses, all accidents have to happen on the racing surface, but the apron, if a driver comes to a complete stop, or if there's a spin and a wreck with oncoming traffic, it will throw a yellow, and with Cedric Hunter coming to a lockdown and stop and calling it an evening, that is what brought out our second caution of the day. You hate to see that for the 13 Hello Kitty machine, and he has officially left the server. And this most likely puts everyone in a tricky spot. Everyone was given 4 extra sets of tires to work with. And Zach, 120 laps isn't a lot of laps. It gives you the opportunity. If you want to pit early, you're not really throwing your race away. But we saw last week, fresh tires, you have a massive advantage over the rest of the field.
I think you almost have to come down and take a set now. With the length of the race and the amount of tires that we have, I think you're going to want to just go ahead and use a set. Because like you said, Sam, we saw how valuable they were. And they're going to be just as valuable once again here at this place as they were in Atlanta. Maybe not as crazy much as a value, but it's going to be upwards of a second, half a second difference in lap time. So you're going to quickly be able to make some moves.
As majority of the field entering pit road, some of the drivers that entered into pit road just topping off on gas. For them, majority though, it's tires. 13th on back were those that pitted. Tires, fuel, everyone's ready to go. The drivers that pitted under our first caution of the day, that was going to be led by Ryan Ferrara, Mark Morales, Aaron Kralik, Patrick Hernandez, and Gary Wells. Going to be the drivers that just topped off with fuel. They're still good on fuel for a one-stop. Top 7 drivers, though, did not pit. They have not pitted yet. They're going to be on 15-lap-old tires. They haven't topped off on fuel, but they should, based off fuel saving and the cautions we've had, should be good for a one-stop in this race. But it's the tire difference that makes me worried for at least our top 12, excuse me. They're on old tires. This is going to be a huge showing of how well can Anderson Newsom or can someone else steal their way to get forward. As we watch for the choose. Where do drivers go? High, low? Where do you feel the most comfortable? And it looks like for Cody Reed, that's the inside for the 88.
That he will take that inside, and Reed has been moving his way up here and up to the lead after staying out. So he's been kind of charging from that 16th starting position. I watched him drive all the way up to 7th before that caution. So we'll get to see what he can do out front with some clean air. He's also going to have Ali Fonseca there with him, Thomas Green. So there's a lot of strong drivers who stayed out here and saved that set of tires. So this is going to play out, I think, to be one of the more interesting moments to see which strategy is the right call.
Thank you to everyone that's joining with us this evening, as we'll bring up our weather conditions for tonight's race. That's also been kind of a talking point during the practice session, as this race was coming to sunset period. It was humidity. That was the big talking point. It was 95% humidity that they were dealing with here tonight. We almost had a full blanketed fog race. Luckily, it's less than it's only at 95, so we could see the cars. If it was at 100, we might be in trouble. But the wind is dramatic, at over 15 to 20 miles per hour on the wind, and that track temp 75 now. Fahrenheit has just dropped. That's helping these drivers out. We'll see if it helps them stay clean and green as we are about to go back to green flag action. Cody Reed, Ollie Fonseca going to be your front two as the picture perfect 180 is back underway. What do new tires look like compared to the old? As the drivers that are 13th on back are those with the fresh rubber up front, yet to pit for tires. And here we go, Zach. They're already 3-4 wide, back around 13th place, trying to move forward. It's Cody Reed, tries to scamper away.
Cody Reed trying to run away because, man, it is almost a disaster farther back there with 4 wide racing, but everybody did a great job to surround that the leader of who was the leader of the race, Jackson Anderson, on that first car on 4 tires. He is just driving up through the middle, and you can see it is a wide racetrack, and Brecken farther back, it looks like Sipes.
That's going to be Sipes. It's going to be Austin Halsey, both slow and further on back. And the fresh rubber drivers only able to move up 2 positions since the drop of the green. Not as dramatic as we saw last week at Atlanta, but the 84 and 80 going to have their incident. As you can see, the 80 machine not as crazy as the damage to the rear end, looks very messed up. The 84, on the other hand, missing a hood for himself. As we get ready to take a look at this incident, I mean, Zach, just hard racing on the inside by Sipes, but that loose condition hurting him, and Austin Halsey nowhere to go as we'll see this off of turn 4.
This is unfortunate. You see there a little contact on entry there between the 7 and the 80, but right here, the 80 is going to start to get a little bit loose right there at that moment. You see a car just wiggle down the track, slight touch to the 7, and that just shoves him off the racetrack, and Halsey nowhere to go. That is just a tough place to be for him as he's going to catch a little bit of contact from all that.
Halsey head into pit road, and here's right along with the 84. As he was just trying his best just to run on the outside, watch what the competition was going to do. And when you're this far back, I mean, your ultimate goal is just to survive by the end of this race. And when you see an incident like this, it's heartbreaking to be like, I'm so far back. How did it get caught up in a wreck? As you see there, just innocent victim. There's no way to react. Halsey, Sipes, it's going to be the 84 that takes the worst of it. We'll wait and see if Halsey can continue on and how bad is the damage for the 80 machine's rear end as they wait to head into pit road. Justin T. Campbell going to be heading into pit road. He's one of the few drivers yet to pit, and the 66, I mean, I'm not shocked by this, but you would think that if you didn't pit on that last caution, you'd want to stay out a little bit longer to have some type of tire advantage over your competition. And looks like for Campbell, he's more so just giving up time than gaining at this point, as he will fall outside of the top 35 for the 66.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do. Like you said, you would imagine, these drivers here out front, at some point they're going to want to probably catch a yellow to where they can pit, but they didn't want to see a quick yellow like that. That was way too little of time, and really, if you come and put a settle now, it's going to be really no difference. I mean, it's only really that one green flag lap that we had on the tires, so it's not going to be a huge advantage for the likes of Campbell, but we'll see. Maybe he just wants to get himself out of harm's way. He feels something bad's coming.
As the field gets ready for tonight's choose cone, I want to say thank you to everyone that's watching with us. We appreciate those that are able to join in and just watch and what we like to call lurking, or aren't really reacting or commenting in chat, but are here to support with your own views. Those that are commenting and trying to cheer on your favorite drivers, we appreciate you being with us. As Cody Reed dramatically showing what side of the track he wants to be on, as currently underway with the choose rule. Seeing different drivers sticking very high, sticking very low. You must stay to the left or right of that C in the middle of NASCAR and that black seam. Do not drive over it, or you could get penalized either this race or the next. As if you're able to, we'd love it if you hit that like button if you're enjoying the broadcast. Also a great way to support the drivers. Also, if you want to make sure that you are notified when we are live with our next Freaky Fast broadcast, remember to hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, and remember to hit the bell notification button to be notified when we go live. Zach up front, again, that last restart, didn't see a lot of movement from those drivers with new tires. They looked very dramatic moves, but they didn't move forward. I'm kind of expecting a similar thing here on this next restart with everyone's tires cooling off.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is going to help the drivers out front who allow them tires just to cool down even more and bring them back to life. So I think it's going to take a few laps before we see any type of difference between those tires now.
Well, the field set. Cody Reed, the control vehicle on the inside. He is ready to go green flag once again for the picture perfect 180 presented by cnorrisphoto.com as we head down into turn number 1. Cody Reed, Ollie Fonseca, Thomas Green, Jared Talmadge, strong top 4 trying to pull their way as Cody Reed with a quick blink out. He's back on track, but battle for second. Thomas Green sees an opportunity, but not able to strike for second place. But you can see the drivers trying to fan out. That's from about 6th on back. That's about to get very nerve-wracking when we exit turn number 4.
That it is around the 8th position. Isaac Reimer sliding off the exit of 4 here. And you can see behind him in that 77, he's that black car in the bottom sliding up to the wall. It is chaos as the new tires are trying to come through. And those first drivers on the old set of tires are their first victims. And it can get a little bit hairy here when these tires are just this cold and everybody's a little bit free there, you can see.
Oh boy, 4 wide as they exit turn number 2, and they're still trying to find openings, get around one another. Gonna be 3 wide, might try 4 wide once again as Merrick Watchhorn in the 91 was the one fading backwards for a quick moment. Now stuck in the middle, gonna be Gary Wells in the 87. Gonna be also seeing the 98 on the outside. What can Sipes, what is Isaac Shelley gonna do on that outside groove? And you know, we're seeing all these drivers mixing and mingling, the outside, the inside, the middle. The reason why we're not seeing this major launches is drivers aren't feeling secure on getting on the accelerator, on that throttle, and it's hurting momentum as everyone's zigzagging their way to find openings to move forward. And it's still Cody Reed leading up front for now, but watch out for the 08. As you see Noah Steele in this 8 machine ripping the top, but it's the 08 of Alex, going to be Jackson Anderson, who is the first driver with fresh rubber, who's now climbed in the top 5.
And he has done an excellent job, Sam, of just climbing his way through. Hicks is also doing a good job, but Jackson Anderson doing it better than anybody right now. He's going to go around Fonseca here, take himself, put him into the side of the top 4 within a second of the leaders, while the others farther back are wrecking.
And it's Noah Steele in the 08, gets in the outside wall. Everyone fans out to the inside to avoid where the 8 machine was. No one else going to be collected. We continue to stay green as Noah Steele continues to ride the wall, going about 80 miles per hour, trying to let the rest of the field pass on by before he can enter pit road. And he better hope he can get to pit road. Just now crossing downhill, missed pit road entry. The 8 has to crawl around this lap once again and hope that a yellow flag doesn't come out, but that is a worst case scenario for Steele, who now banks on a caution flag to fly. We bounce now back up to the lead position as Thomas Green, Jarrett Talmadge, and Cody Reed battle for the lead position. Reed is starting to falter back as here comes Jarrett Talmadge, Green, and now the fresh tires of Anderson into the mix.
Anderson quickly coming into the picture, like you said there, Sam, and right now Reed trying to fight off the 27, but at the 27 just enough to clear Cody Reed there to slide in the second. But I think it's going to be easy pickings for this number 08. He has been looking strong, and it might be a 3-wide move down here as if he has an opportunity.
And now going to duck it below the 27. Backing out for a quick second was Anderson. Good call on his part, but forcing the issue on Talmadge. Reed drifting for a quick moment. 88 holds on. And now with all this sliding back and forth, it's given a chance for Ollie Fonseca and the other driver with fresh rubber of Nolan Hicks to certainly slowly march his way forward. The 86 has been watching Anderson kind of be the spearhead, making room for all of these similar passes to be made. But this 86 needs to start moving up quicker because Anderson's just a few laps away from taking this lead spot, and with clean air, might just start pulling away.
He very well would love to have that clean air to try to drive away because, like you said, Hicks is the next one. It was close between Talmadge and then right there off the exit of 4, that was almost close to being a wreck right ahead of these guys, but it's able to hold on for the 08, and now he'll try to rip the top, find the momentum, and maybe have an opportunity here down to the 3 and 4 on the 3 because he should have a massive run.
Taking off on the exit, able to clear Talmadge. Now going to utilize the same momentum to dive to the inside on Thomas Green. And Talmadge, Green, they just have no more rubber underneath them to fight back, but Green attempts to go for a huge accelerate off the center of the corner, off the exit. The 3's at the quarter panel, but does he have the grip to keep it down low for a pass? As Anderson, just a little bit more aggressive on entry, tries to rip the top. Green right there with a chance to keep it down low, but it's a lost cause. The 08 Great launch, now fully clear as they head down into turn number 3. You look throughout the rest of the field, it's still little pods up front of 2, 3, sometimes 4 vehicles, but the mix and mingle around 10th place is still a madhouse on who's really in a position to start moving forward, as you still have drivers of old tires, new tires, those that just topped off on fuel, mix and mingled here as Ryan Kelly runs around this 12th place position.
That it is. He's got Merrick Watchhorn, Jesse Thornick, Jesse Newsom all right around him right here, as you see that 30 ticket all the way against the wall. He's going to try to wrap the top, go around the 14, who is on that older set of tires. So right now, in the first three in that top 5 there are on those old sets, but the rest of those older tires have just fallen through these new tires as the tires really start to take their advantage the farther we get.
I think it's the fun thing about the Trinity car. We actually get to talk about tires and how important they are. It is the fun part of watching these older vehicles and seeing the difference, and the fact that some drivers were able to secure a little bit more saving, hold position, hold ground. And now if we get into a later run, things could really change up. If we also get a late caution, this could change things around, as majority of the field now in a position of turning this race into a one-stop. Once we get to that halfway marker, and looking at the 0-2, it looks like just a 0, but there's a small little 2 in the number column for Danny Cochran here in the purple machine. Very similar to the 0-24 of Ali Fonseca, but Danny Cochran, part of the same cluster driving group as Jarrett Talmadge, has finished inside of the top 10 and top 5 for every race this season. What a mark to have for a driver that we saw in the inaugural season of the ISRC Truck Series have such a fantastic run for himself. He's trying to do another incredible inaugural season run that the 0-2 is notoriously known for.
He is known for that for sure. And now we're going to check out this 16 here of Joshua Kanata, who is back in 29th right now. He did looks like he didn't take a set of tires the last time he came to pit road. So it with only a 5.9 stop, so maybe only took fuel only. There's one of those drivers that elected to do that, and we've seen Kanata last week, really find a way to get a good finish out of a tough day. And I think tonight, you never know, he could be one that's near the end here in a good position somehow.
I was listening in with some of the drivers during their practice session. It was funny listening to Kanata and others, because Kanata was saying, I'm going to be slow. I don't feel confident about this race. And everyone chattered back at him saying, you said the same thing last week and you got a 3rd place finish. So Joshua Kanata might not feeling the greatest, but he certainly feels like there might be a chance to fight back, as one driver not be able to fight back as he's into the wall. Jesse Thornock in the 14, just too close to that outside wall, brushing it, and a loss of over 5 positions in a blink of an eye. And I think we're starting to finally see that wear and tear into this long green flag run. This is what we were expecting to see. Who was protecting? Who wasn't? The aggression level could be hurting you now on the harsher side, as we're starting to see drivers battling back and forth in the middle of the field, and up front, starting to see some of the drivers trying to climb up and catch up to Anderson, as Nolan Hicks has finally moved in to 2nd place, and Larry Yingling is now up to 4th.
It seems like Hicks and Yingling a little bit more pace. Maybe Anderson's still pacing himself out front. Once he's got that clean air, could kind of pace himself for a second, try to cool those tires back down after that quick drive through the field for him. But we could see maybe Anderson might have overworked those tires just in that first initial laps, trying to get those spots quicker than the others, and that could have ended up really hurting his tires. So we'll get to see if Hicks or Yingling can make a move here as this run goes on.
Trying to fight back. Who wants to move forward quicker than the other? Are you thinking about the strategy call of later on in this run? A few drivers going to be bouncing to the inside, as battling for 16th place was getting a little bit chaotic. Here's another driver that kind of shocked the racing world for us here on Monday night last week. Aaron Crawley, a 2nd place finish for the 01, as he currently is trying to continue to move forward, but runs in 18th position. But with some of the chaos that we saw last week, I mean, there is always a chance of a late caution, a little bit of fiasco moments, and you see some underdog drivers with their best finishes just to start the season off, as Kralik and Reed battle side by side for 17.
Great battling going on there, as Reed's going to get that job done and make the pass there on Kralik, but looks like Reed's still yet to pit, and Kralik, looks like one of the drivers that came down for 2 times tonight, but it looks like mostly just for fuel only. So all these drivers, seems like the farther back we got, have been on even such tires. Is right there you see Mason Cassidy close there, making some contact to that 01 there on the entry, and Frolic going way up the racetrack trying to hold that.
Really feeling forced to have to go that high to make sure there wasn't any contact, and you move up that aggressively that quickly, it could put you in a tough spot. But Kralik, oh no! Cassidy, Kralik, contact, but luckily Cassidy straightens out the 01. And just a huge dive bomb move the 01 was not prepared for. Contact made, but we continue to stay green even with that shutter. And oh boy, if you're Kralik, I mean, that's got to be a weird moment to take in, because that slide's going to hurt your tires even more. And you got to reassess for the battling that might be happening with the next driver that attempts to go at you as we move up further on ahead to see some of the battling that's just inside of our top 5. This is Merrick Watchhorn, Jarek Talmadge. Merrick, the next driver with fresh rubber, trying to get in line inside of the top 5.
That he is. So Jarek Talmadge leading the way on the old tires still, so he's doing a great job there from his EOL to start this race. He's held on very, very valiantly. And I tell you what, Vincent Sora, he's also made the pass on Larry Yingling, so he's up the 3rd. So see if the 15 can kind of make some inroads, as Hicks has gotten to Anderson, but just kind of stalled out up front. So right now, seeing some very interesting racing, especially with this likes of this 27 and this 3 hanging on as well as they are, and the same for the 24 of Ali Fonseca.
And with the fact that these drivers all pitted about 26 laps ago, they could still go again. We were given the number around 55 laps you could go if it was green all the way through. Might be able to go now about 58 laps, which gives this field another around 30 laps to go in this run, which will put them in the zone of a one-stop race. The question is, Zach, do you go until this fuel is empty, or do you go when the fuel window opens up? A lot of strategy calls going to be made in the next few laps. That's if we stay clean and green, as a few drivers entering and taking the call to hit pit road. Ryan Ferraro in the 10 machine making an early pit stop, as he's still in the mindset of a 2-stop here tonight.
That he definitely has to be, because you're going to need to at least make it to 65 here before you want to pit. So you want to make that last 55 laps runs comfortable for you on fuel. So we'll see how far some of these guys can stretch it. I think some of the people who have yet to pit tonight, they should be able to stretch it maybe to that 65 mark. They might be a few laps short, where they might have to kind of conserve a bit here later. But the drivers who have hit pit road, put fuel in their race car, they should be plenty good to get to that 65 mark that allows them to easily make that one stop a reality. So we'll get to see who can do it, but I think it's going to be a very important thing. Is right now, I'll tell you what, Vincent Sora, we talked about him. He's on the move, guys. He's up to 2nd, and quickly, I think he's going to be looking for this lead.
It's not rare that you say, hey, he kind of was under the radar, Vincent Sora, but you look at the top leaderboard, he wasn't top 5 where we usually see him in practice. So I kind of forgot that Vincent Sora was going to be running here tonight, but Homestead, Miami, a track that Vincent Sora has shown a lot of strength in a lot of different vehicles. This 15 is going to be a threat, especially in the long run, and he's showing it right now, 29 laps into this run. And the 15 finally with a chance to battle Anderson here for the lead position. The 08's been in complete control since the restart, but now under threat. Is there any tires left underneath the 08 to fight back? And it's just looking like there really isn't, as Sora throttles up. The 08 watches, as now Nolan Hicks going to be following the 15 for a chance to battle for 2nd.
Oh man, we were getting to see now the tires definitely starting to fall away. I've seen a few drivers makes some big mistakes into the corner, so it is getting to be a little bit hairy here. And you talked about Vincent Sora being so good on the long runs. I think that's what he's going to showcase in this Xfinity car the most this season, is that his ability on long runs is going to take him far places.
We got some people out of the chat rooting for their drivers. You got Lenny Reed, father of Cody Reed, rooting for that 88 machine. Megan out there rooting for Stovall, who currently runs in 12th position. Stovall, one of the drivers that pitted under a last caution 30 laps ago, still has a few drivers ahead of him that have yet to pit. Though one of those drivers being Ali Fonseca in the 24 directly in front of him, as well as Thomas Green and Jarek Talmadge. And the one of the biggest packs so far of drivers that are around one another. He's in the tail end of it, so he's got a good eye of where to react if an incident pops up in this group. But not a bad place to be for this one machine that knows we at least have one pit stop before this race is over.
It's definitely shaping up well for a few of these guys as this run goes on, and seeing some struggle times from others and some better times from other drivers. So people are able to make a little bit of passing here, and that's the beauty of Homestead. It gives you the availability to find space on the racetrack for your car. Because look right here, we have about 5-6 cars right here in the picture, all running different lines. So it is something that's a beauty here, and you're getting to see it world-class racing right here right now.
And Zach, I mean, over a run, you're dealing with all these different sensations of loss of grip, dealing with dirty air. What do you think these drivers are feeling like this late into a run? 33 laps have been green. You know you've got a pit stop ahead of you. You're trying to run fast laps if you can. What do you think some of these drivers are feeling that are stuck around this 11th and 12th position when they saw their competition already battling for the lead at this moment?
You know, it is always tough. The farther you get in these runs, this is the point of the run where it's easy to kind of fall into a mistake and just overdrive the car trying to get too much, and really you just need to back it down. And that's where I think who these drivers are going to excel the farther we go. And as you catch people, you got to really find the lane to get around them. So I think you're seeing right now a lot of people migrating to that top side to make passes. But if you get past on the bottom, like we saw Vince Sora, who was in the lead up there, get it done, your car's handling good. To me, that really means it's really turning well and allowing you to get back on the throttle, because it seems like anybody who's trying to do that is either pushing the nose or starting to push the rear end late on the exit of the corner that tries to make a pass down low. So definitely the balance of your car has to be strong if you're going to be able to make passes here.
As drivers are bouncing around on trying to find their best footing currently, more drivers making the call. Pit road is calling their name 50 laps into this race. That driver being Isaac Reimer, going to be the next driver to come into pit road. The 8 machine in that Wrangler yellow and blue, that's Noah Steele in the 8 machine, and currently 16 laps down, was involved with one of our most recent incidences to bring out a caution. And he was getting all the repairs done. And going to be one of our signs of a vehicle that doesn't really have the best aero, maybe doesn't have the best feeling, but fresh rubber is enabling this 8 to move forward, which is going to be the key factor, I think, of this race. Of the tire fall off, Zach. Yes, there is fall off, but I'm not seeing it being as great as we were seeing at Atlanta last week, where a driver who, oh no, never mind. Caution going to go around as Sipes is also going to be seeing Eric Watchhorn and a few others scatter around. Still no yellow. We continue to stay green. Now caution is out, and it's our 5th on back drivers caught up in this one.
Well, that was a wild one there for sure, and awkward moment there for the caution not to come out for the time being. But look, it was almost a 3-wide moment between Merrick Watchhorn, Justin Sipes, and Jarrett Talmadge. I think Watchhorn, when we go back and look at it, just didn't expect the 27 to be able to get there. So this comes a little bit of an awkward moment here, so to say. And some other drivers taking some big hits like Thomas Green.
Seeing the field again, this is on the front stretch. Action is going to happen on the back stretch between these drivers. 27 to Jarrett Talmadge, trying to get a good run off the exit of the corner. Merrick Watchhorn in the middle, trying to block and defend this run, but it's already there. And Merrick trying to move down and just clips. Sipes gets tossed around. Thomas Green, that's a heavy T-bone lick for himself. As more drivers loop it, I believe also ahead of them, it's going to be the 98 of Isaac Shelley, who goes for a little bit of a spin. I don't know exactly what caused them to go around, but luckily no one else involved with this incident as see all those drivers spinning. But Zach, I mean, our first big one of the evening is ahead. Going to be the 81, going through a little bit of a slighter move. Shelley goes through, passing Ollie Fonseca, trying to go after more drivers. There's the carnage, there's the wreck. Was there any contact? And yes, it was. Merrick Watchhorn just drifts up and wipes out the 98. Another lack of awareness in the same wreck.
You just stole the words out of my mouth there, Sam. Lack of awareness, yeah. Just not paying attention to what your surroundings are there. Maybe just being relieved that you made it. You just, release, letting the car back up on the track. And got to remember, oncoming traffic is coming. And right there, heavy hit for the likes of Isaiah Shelley. Says a tough break for him, but this caution did do one thing. It made pit road busy, busy, busy.
As drivers enter pit road, everyone entering in. It's 4 tires and fuel for the field. And so for those that didn't pit and wanted to have better track position, you have been rewarded. And Zach, this makes things a little bit more interesting for those up front, because we might see drivers in the mentality of, we got to pace ourselves. With the time of this caution, we still may not make it to the end of this race from here if you're not saving fuel. But drivers also know there is a fight to see who can get the midway bonus point. It's only 1 bonus point, but that 1 point could be crucial on if you're in or out of the chase. So this is going to be a fun and interesting about 5-lap shootout we're going to have for us, as it's whoever is leading at the end of lap 60 will get that bonus point. As currently it's Vincent Sora, Nolan Hicks, Jackson Anderson, Larry Yingling, and Danny Cochran going to be your top 5. We look at the drivers that have been making their way forward as we have ourselves our biggest mover award presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. Going to be currently the 0-2 of Danny Cochran. It's based off of where you qualified in your position. And Danny Cochran going to be your Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover at this moment in time. Congratulations to the 0-2, as that is your biggest mover before the halfway zone. Here we go. It's about to get chaotic. Multiple drivers calling in a night now after that wreck. Sipes is out. Going to be Noah Steele calling in an evening. Same for Austin Halsey. Multiple drivers are going to be finding themselves being a lap down of Thomas Green, Shelley, Cedric Hunter, Michael Miller. Who can keep themselves alive? Do we have more cautions ahead of us, or can we race it to the end? Time to find out as the 15 of Vincent Sora looks up to the flag stand in your picture perfect 180 presented by cnorrisphoto.com is back underway as Sora is already car length ahead into 1.
Sora definitely trying to keep that clean air, and he did a great job of being the best on that long run the last time. Let's see if he's able to hold on. But I tell you what, Hicks gave him all the problems he needed because he stayed with him that whole entire time. So we got quite the battle there with especially some other drivers getting those new tires back on their car to even the game.
And I'm looking at Anderson. This is 08. Where will and how aggressive is he willing to fight, as he's been in complete control since the start of this race? Is the first time he's going to be this far back, as one driver going to be going for a little bit of a spill further on back. That's going to be the 9 machine of Martin Morales. Caution is out, and that should be an awkward spot between Vincent Sora and Larry Yingling. I think Sora will keep the lead position as the 9 goes for a ride off the exit of turn 4.
Right there for Martin as he'll get that car back straightened out. As I don't know if it's going to be straightened out. Actually, we might be seeing our second crab car of the season here. Not as bad as Fonseca's was, but this is still definitely some good old rear end house damage for that 9. So he's got to get that worked on. But we'll see how this looks here, Sam. I think more than likely, I think this was just a little bit of loose condition. Yeah, right there. That cold tires, it's really came to bite a few people. And the contact. And
here comes the contact. Oh, massive lick as Ryan Ferraro comes flying in. And that's a tough spot for the 10 machine because he simply was stuck on the outside. There was really nowhere to go as you're right on board with Ferraro, and get a sense of what the 10 was seeing in front of him. He's trying to set up to get by Isaac Shelley, who's a lap down, but there's a car and nowhere to go.
It's so tough. He was following Isaac Shelley for that moment on the entry of the corner. Shelley gets loose, and opens up the door for him to go to the outside. That puts him in that 3rd lane and just right in the path of Martin, where he had, like you said, nowhere to go. So just a tough break for both of those drivers. After Ferraro sitting on pole last week, that's a tough pill to swallow.
And what makes that even worse is Ryan Ferraro didn't have a warning, really. There was a call over the radio that said, hold on to it, but there was no yellow flag thrown until after the Ferraro contact was made. That's what makes it harder for the 10, was because there was no yellow thrown, so he's got to continue racing like it's green flag conditions. There's no car shown until it's right there, and that is a tough spot for the 10 machine of Ryan Ferraro, who's going to be spending plenty of time in pit road. Same for the 9 of Martin Morales, says drivers pace around, expected to be the bonus point given to Vincent Sora for leading the halfway of this race. We still wait until they officially cross the line at the end of lap 60, but Zach, that 1 bonus point now taken away. Vincent Sora, I believe that's his second time getting this award for himself. Congratulations, as the halfway point is sponsored by SG_Racing. Look for fun and relatable sim racing content? Well, head on over to SG_Racing for they've got you covered from great racing action for the point of view of Samuel Garcia. You can check out SG_Racing on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and also on Twitch and TikTok. The great coverage of Samuel S. Garcia. Go head over to SG_Racing today. Vincent Sora still paces around and ready to get going here shortly. But Zach, halfway through this race, what has been one of the more surprising things, or have there been any surprising notes that you've seen so far?
I'm surprised that we haven't seen as much fall off, especially the difference on those tires there. I expected a pretty big difference for a few of those guys with 14 laps on the tires compared to others. So that was a little bit interesting. We do have fall off, but it's not that to an extreme of Atlanta. And that should be the case, though, more likely just due to being a cool night. It's so much speed, so much grip in this racetrack where the tires just aren't just getting them, completely abused around here. So it is definitely been an interesting case of that here tonight with Homestead, but I still think that we've seen those comers and goers with the drivers being able to save the tires and still make passes.
As the field gets ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, I want to say thank you again to the amazing sponsors that help out here for the Trinity Racing League, the inaugural season for the Trinity Racing League, presented by Lariat Productions. Lariat Productions is your title sponsor for this season. You want to check out some great fun and hilarious variety of YouTube channel with reviews, vlogs, live streams, and more. Head on over to Larry Arts Productions on YouTube today, as Danny Cochran's O2 machine, as well as the 24 Volley Sega, got a special Taco Bell review video that Larry just did. Go check out Larry Arts Productions today to see the great content. As Vincent Sorey has gone down into turn number 1, your picture perfect 180 is back underway. And Zach, it's Larry Yingling in that 67. He missed out on that bonus point, or as they're going to be racing to grab this bonus point, Larry Yingling knows there's a chance. If he leads this lap, that one bonus point is his.
That is. He's looking for this move here down into 3 and 4, and he should be able to clear. And this should be the pass to get the job done here to lead this lap. So Yingling to the front, and man, oh man, he's looking to run this clean air out. I know how Larry thinks, and he thinks that clean air is going to be the place to be.
As your halfway bonus point goes to Larry Yingling in the 67. Again, our halfway bonus sponsored by SG_Racing. Go check out Samuel Garcia's racing action on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch at SG_Racing. As Garcia is live currently, go check out that great racing action from his point of view after the race is over, or you can have it tabbed for both of the broadcast and his point of view as drivers are going side by side, brushing the wall and just showing it is go time here as we're halfway marker. The first half had a little bit more give than take, and it seems like it's a lot more take going on now, recognizing how important each pass is going to be.
That they are, man. Everybody here, even farther back around the 15th position, they're darting and dicing it up around the back straightaway. As you can see here, Justin Campbell shooting to the bottom there. It was almost 4 wide with Ryan Bird there for a few months. Is the 49 right on the bottom there. He's got that 23 Ethan Delaire there in the middle, who's loose there coming off a 4. And these tires just cold when they take off, not gripping up to the track.
Loose on the inside, loose on the outside. The middle's just wiggle wobbling back and forth. And Justin Campbell, again, who gave up over 30 positions earlier on in this race, is still fighting to get back into the top 10 and a chance to fight inside of the top 5 after his mistake of pitting too soon. The 66 runs in 14th, and just seeing a lot of this chaos around him. You move up to the 88 machine of Cody Reed, as he's got another fan favorite right behind him of Joshua Stovall, who's now trying to bounce into the inside groove and attempting to make the pass. But they'll stay side by side. This is the battle for ninth place between Reed and Stovall.
Will doing a good job to run that bottom groove, but he's got someone tucked up right underneath him. That's Jesse Newsom, and that can get you pretty loose as it kind of did there. Is now the 88 is going to clear there, as you're going to see everybody single for a file for the time being, but the other drivers darting out behind farther back.
Darn in, darn low, trying to go for every move possible. Currently, the field is continuing to attack forward. Update on the 9 to Mark Morales, who's crab-legging a little bit. He is back out on track with 7 laps down. Cedric Hunter in the 13. He disconnected, reconnected back in. The 13 machine, currently the first driver, 1 lap down. Zach, a caution, and getting the Lucky Cod Award could put this Hello Kitty machine back into a fight for a race that he thought was over after his seen his VR system crash for him.
That's for sure. Yeah, I thought it was over for him for sure. And then we saw him connect back in. Was 2 laps down, and he's been fighting ever since then. And it's a big moment. He needs this because he missed Daytona. He's one of the drivers we talked about that could be, very well fighting for a playoff spot this season, known from past history of just how he's rated in other leagues. He should be one of those contenders, but missing Daytona, it's put him in a predicament where he needs to come out here and put points on the board and not be, getting caught out. Last week was a tough run for him, but he's ended up finishing 6th. So, maybe tonight he can fight something here and figure out how to get himself in the back of the top 15.
Starting to see a few of the drivers moving together as a team. Battle for 10th place is going on. That's Stovall. And then the teammates in line, the 82 of Mason Cassidy, the 81 of Jesse Newsom, the Blue Pill Punishers running together and trying to move together as quickly as they can. And for Mason Cassidy, what a recovery for himself, the 82 who missed out on last week's race. Now he's also a driver who needs big points. And the 81 of Jesse Newsom, I mean, he already proved with qualifying. He was third fastest, but can he keep that pace and movement going forward as he gets close to that outside wall through the center of the corner? He'll brush the wall. Big slide for the 81 right in front of Jared Talmadge.
Jared Talmadge trying to find his way back up through the field too after losing out a lot there with that latest wreck that he was involved in. So got that car worked on a little bit, and now back into the top 13 and trying to break into the top 10. This 27, don't count him out yet. How strong he was on those older tires earlier, he could be very well one to watch here later.
Looking at a few other drivers that are trying to make a surprising note forward. Ethan Delaire, again, a driver that we haven't really called here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Kind of one of those, you could say, newcomers from our point of view, and excited to see what speed the 22 is going to have here this season, as he was a few drivers that I watched of what experience could he have. Well, looking on his Sim Racer Hub career notes, does not have an Xfinity, doesn't have a lot of Xfinity car experience. This is a lot of new information for himself, but he has ran in 2 seasons in the ASRA Cup Series, where he raced with Jackson Anderson and Austin Halsey in both of those leagues. He wasn't a fastest driver back in those Cup Series days, but gets a lot of notes of he's going to be a mid-factor, and right now running in 11th. This is a fantastic day for the 22.
He'll definitely take that for sure. I mean, anything you can build on and go forward with, you will take here. As Delaire's had some moments here to start the season that he's definitely not want to be a part of. His Newsom now making a big move there in the 81 right behind him as Tom is trying to find his way around this log jam that it is right here with Mason Cassidy, just Joshua Stovall, really from that 9th position all the way back here to 13th.
I mean, that was a kind of a what you could call a haymaker move by the 81, trying to make a big surging pass to the inside, but there just wasn't enough momentum to make that move work. And if anything, that could be hurting Newsom with that big of a lunge from the outside wall to the inside. Could be hurting those tires even more than if he just ran the top normally. And Jared Talmadge runs the top. He'll carry that momentum and attack mode as you see multiple drivers duck down low with attempts to go for passes, but it's Mason Cassidy. He gets a big run, but Zach, he can't utilize it to go for a big slide job move. He's just stalling out, trying to make the corner instead of trying to outbreak his competition who is outside.
That he is, and he's right darting left a little bit. This is where it gets dangerous. Is contact from Jesse Newsom to the back of the 22. He's
More
going to hold
contact
on to
over
it.
the 22. He's still holding on the outside. Now drifting down low. Holding on is Delaire. What a save by the 22 machine. But the amount of lost time is heartbreaking. But what a moment by the 22 that got bumped, tapped, and still is alive. And seeing the driver that tapped him ahead of him having trouble, you better watch out, Newsom. Delaire's trying to bounce back.
That is, he's not going to be happy about that, especially the second hit. The first hit, he was right on the back bumper. That's an easy mistake to do sometimes. We'll see here when it's stacked up. But that second hit is really what shot the 22 up the racetrack more. And that was definitely one that many probably couldn't have saved. So great job there by Ethan Delaire to save that thing, because that could have been race over.
And it's the 22. We'll come back to this battle if it's needed. I've seen Justin Campbell trying to make his pounce moving forward, but up front, starting to see some drivers attempting for a pass. Larry Yingling was under pressure just a lap ago from Vincent Sora and Zach. I mean, it's looking like 15. He's starting to get to that zone where we saw him get by Anderson. It was about 25, 30 laps into a tire run where the 15 just really outclassed the field. Looks like for Vinny, he's starting to get to that zone where he's feeling like, all right, it's go time. Trying to flip the switch. It's my time to lead this race as he dives down low into turn 3, sticking to the white line, but Yingling muscles his way on the throttle pedal earlier and keeps this top position.
And he's got to be careful here, because Yingling will lull you into a aspect of trying to make that pass too many times and overworking your tires. He is very, very good at playing that cat and mouse game of, I just go just quick enough to lead, and if you get to my inside, I have that defensive maneuver to pull back off to hold you off. And if you continuously go at it, just continuously try to take that position from, you will overwork your tires. So Vincesaurus got to be smart here and not let the old veteran work him up.
Also, it's interesting to note, watching the majority of the field up front, they're running that white line. They're staying low. One driver that's ripping the top, that's the 08 of Anderson, who just continues to try to work that outside groove, hoping that's going to be good enough to make any motion forward, but it just isn't showing great reward here immediately as he continues to stay back in fourth position. As saw there for a blink of an eye, thought maybe Vincesaurus was going to get to the inside quarter panel of the 67, not able to do so. And like you said, Zach, I mean, really just flirting and saying, hey, come and give it a chance. There's almost an opportunity here, and then just rips it away. That's got to be so disheartening lap after lap. And similar could be saying for Anderson, who's watching a similar thing with all the drivers around him. He's not able to gain anything.
It's exactly right. It is so disheartening sometimes because you try every little thing. As old Vincesaurus might have the upper hands here as he took it to the top rope. He's going to have a big run down the back straightaway here. This could give his best chance. We've seen him look to the inside on entry, but this time he's going to have a full nose ahead. He's going to try to run up the track a little bit, push that 67 up out that seam, and it might have worked there. That might have got the 67 tight enough to where he can clear, and the 15 will get it done, but will he cross back under him?
Larry Yingling stays in line, and the thing that hurt Yingling is the fact that before he got, oh boy, almost drifting through the corner as Yingling's trying to get to the inside of the 15, holds on to it. But the big notion was the fact of the exit at turn 4, drifted over that top black seam too early, lost all grip for Yingling, and he was not able to keep that top position. But caution further on back. Oh no, it's the 88 of Cody Reed going for a spill for himself.
Oh no, this is tough, and this was some hard 3-wide racing that was going on farther back in the field around that 10th position. So Reed was having a good night, was able to kind of hold on with those older tires earlier, keep some somewhat of track position, and was kind of fighting his way back forward to find some more of that track position back with the 88. But right here, it's just going to be 3 drivers coming into 1 there on the exit at 2, and Reed just nothing he can do is he's going to get collapsed by the car on the inside and the outside.
Yeah, that was going to be the outside. It's the 81 of Jesse Newsom. Inside was Malik Kuntz, who was, it looks like over the radio, everyone trying to give clarification. Malik, unaware they were 3 wide and thought that the 88 was going to move high sooner, and that's why we're going to see contact here off the exit of the corner. 81 trying to stay off the wall. Reed keeps where he's at, but the 33 just so close. Spins Cody around. Hard rear end and side panel damage. We'll see how bad Reed's race vehicle looks after pit stops are done, as everyone is heading into pit road now.
They are, Sam. With these sets of tires they have, they're going to come down, put another set on, and this will take them to the end of the race. If this goes green from this far, it will take them to the end, but I can tell you this much, if we get another 20, 30 laps in, they're going to want another set of these tires. So we'll see how the strategy works out. But right now, Vincesaurus and Larry Yingling, the battle continues on as this is going to be the race off of pit road.
As the drivers are going to be racing off to pit road, this will be watching the racing action off. And it's Vincesaurus, Larry Yingling, Nolan Hicks, Danny Cochran, Ali Fonseca. Anderson just continues to fall backwards for the 08. As he'll come out 6th, but with this caution and pit stop being concluded, we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. It's been a blast to give you the call for these first 80 laps of 120 here this evening. When we come back, we'll be less than 40 laps to go. How many more cautions do we have? 1 more set of tires is left for majority of the field. When do you use it? Or do you? We'll find out when we come back from this commercial break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry R Productions on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We just had ourselves a little bit of green flag racing under commercial break. Got to see Larry Yingling as well as seeing Vincent Sora going back and forth in their duel for the lead position. Larry Yingling will hold his spot. Reason why? Trouble for the 22 of Ethan Dallaire. I wouldn't say, Zach, that this is a commentator's curse, but trouble in front of the 22 as the 87 snaps a little loose and everyone comes together.
He does, and this is something we've seen as old. You see that check up there from the looseness, and just a 22 nowhere to go, and he's going to get hit from behind, spun down the track, and just going to stay out of that inside wall, luckily for the 22, but a tough break for him. He's been caught up in a few incidents this season, so very, very tough for him to see. We'll get a better look here from the bumper to see the hit that comes from behind. That actually is what really sends him hard forward, as that's going to be the 44 Mark Labertone right behind him.
And Mark Labertone, a driver who's still trying to learn and get more experience as a driver. And I wouldn't say this is really on Mark's fault. I mean, that is one of the quick bang moments that happened immediately over the radio. The 87 of Gary Wells, that was the driver that snapped loose initially, was said, "Hey, I'm so sorry to everyone behind me. I just got loose." And you can see the reaction, just nowhere to go for any of those drivers, as pit road calls for some, major repairs for a lot of drivers. But that last caution we had right before we went to commercial break, congratulations to Cedric Hunter, who was given the Lucky Cotter Award. And with drivers racing around, I believe the next driver that's supposed to get the Lucky Cotter Award was supposed to be the 41 of Patrick Hernandez, who was now going to get service done for himself. Congratulations to Hernandez getting back onto the lead lap. As the choose is underway, Yingling goes high and the rest of the field choosing where they want to go. Zach, we're now coming to the very intense part. About to be 30 laps to go here tonight. This is your make or break, as drivers only ran 9 laps under that last green flag surge. A lot of the field only has 1 set of tires left. I mean, when do you feel like is the final time to take a set of tires, or was that last pit stop 9 laps to go your last go around?
Yeah, that is the age-old question. You know, if the cautions continue in the short bursts, I think this might be your last stop. But if we do say, hey, see this go all the way to 110, 105, in that range of another 10, 15, 20 laps here, I think you could see some drivers look to come take their last set. Now, I will say there was some interesting calls there too being made. There was some big fake outs, because the 08 got completely faked out of Jackson Anderson, and he came to pit road and was really the only driver to come down from that front spot. So he's going to be way back in 24th. We'll see what he can do with a little bit fresher tires.
The other driver that came in with them was the 7 machine of Cody Smith, who's been riding in the back all night long. We'll see how well the 07 can move forward, or is it the drivers already up front in the better position as green flag is back out in the air for the picture perfect 180 presented by cnorrisphoto.com. As Larry Yingling takes the charge, takes the reins, and it's Ali Fonseca in the 24. His emergence to be up front. Joshua Stovall as well going to be in the mixture. Danny Cochran. There's a lot of front runners that we haven't talked about a lot here tonight that are inside of the top 10 that recognize it's go time. This is your chance to be up front, and if a late caution comes out, you could be in the prime position for a pit stop, fresh tires, and success later on in this race, as now it's officially 30 laps to go here tonight.
That it is. And look at this. Chris Stitz here battling with the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge. This is a really important battle for the top 5 with Stovall right there, as Talmadge forced his way into that bottom groove and said, you know what, top 5, I'm going to come into it. Is right up front. You can see Vincent Sora, even our leader, our second place car, looking to the inside of Larry Yingling as there's a little contact on entry, as those two have been flirting with disaster with how close they've been racing.
I mean, friends, allies, and they've been rivals at times down on Wednesday nights, and they continue to try to have their fights and their bickers to go back and forth. I mean, Zach, the history between Vincent Sora and Larry Yingling, it feels like it goes on forever in so many different leagues, but here tonight, Yingling trying to get the upper hand over the 15.
Definitely deep-rooted there with Larry Yingling and Vincent Sora. Like you said, very much allies, and will race each other very hard. But I don't think you're going to see, unless it's a big mistake between one of these two, something happens. So we'll see some close racing. but we won't see too much of any dirty moves, I think, being played on each other as Yingling looks to the 15 behind him and just tries to find a way to defend him any way possible. That is going to be the biggest thing, and I think that's Yingling's best tactic nowadays. He's really seemed to be one of the better defensive drivers, where we've seen Vitasaur be one of the better offensive drivers.
Few drivers getting loose off the exit of turn number 2. The 0-1 of Aaron Crawley, big loss of time, lost over 5 positions after a slide off the exit of turn number 2. You lose ground to Jackson Anderson, now up to 19th place. He was mired back in 29th. He's gained a few spots, but not in the quickest of the margins that maybe you would hope for this 08 machine. Is, oh no, it's Smith around, and caution is out. And there's that quick burst caution, Zach, of another chance for the field to make that hard decision. Do you pit? Do you stay out? And it's questioning time of, is it willing to give up track position, and will you get that track position back later on?
That's a huge question for sure here, Sam, as this is going to be a pretty big moment here for the 7. You see Cody Smith here running back here around the 26th position. He's going to go to the inside here, catch the apron just a little bit, shoot him up the racetrack, and then from there he's trying to hold on, trying to do his best, and just can't keep it out of the outside wall. And from there, that car just goes down.
He just gave up.
Yeah,
he gave up at that moment. And that is it's one of there's multiple ways that you can try to save a vehicle, and that is the worst way to do it. As Cody Smith going to be having himself, here's another look at it from his onboard, and you can see a driver trying to chase this vehicle. I mean, Zach, you hit the apron. There's a couple of ways you could try to save it. It just looks like for the 7, he's keeping his foot in the throttle, trying to keep it together, and letting off would have been the better option, and then ultimately just throws it in the wall, when if you just locked it down on the brakes, it would have stayed straight. You would have saved it. Instead, it brings out this late caution that adds a little bit of mystery on what do you want to do here as drivers are entering pit road. Yingling enters, Sora stays out.
Wow, the decision was made, and I'm surprised by the decision to come down, especially this early here, and make this set try to work. But maybe they feel like this is the time to make it happen. I mean, maybe your only chance and opportunity is Yingling, the first one to hit pit road. We'll see, is it only 2 or is it 4 tires? Because I feel like 4 might be the call from him. Yes, it will. They're going to jack both sides up. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some take 2 here, just to try to maybe change that balance up. And there it was. I think you saw 2 from the 08 up there, Anderson, who came back down.
As now going to be leaving, Anderson, where will he be placed after this decision? Going into pit road and just topping off on fuel for himself.
That was I was thinking it was 2 there, Sam, but I was like 5 point. That's not enough time to put 2 tires. Yeah.
Reimer looks to be the one driver back in 15th that took 2 tires, which I'm nervous about. 2 tires, especially with these old vehicles. 2 tires, notoriously known for loosening up a vehicle on a track that's already loose. Reimer is going to be the most in trouble to watch out for back in 15th in the middle of this whole entire field.
That's for sure. We always know the age-old adage back then is you put the right side tires on, that thing would turn. It would really, really turn. And yeah, if you're already feeling that condition of the car overturning, you're gonna probably not be wanting to have that 2 tires. Now you can offset that sometimes with fuel loads and just overall how you drive it. But we'll get to see how this works. And I tell you what, though, the craziest thing just happened, Sam. Nobody took the outside line, and Anderson goes from so far back, him and Yingling, to literally 3rd and 4th in the outside line. Nobody took the outside.
And that's the decisions of the choose, right? Some drivers feel more comfortable on the inside. And when you have so many drivers that opt into, I want to feel safer on the inside, they give up so much track position to those that want to take advantage. And taking this set of tires, the biggest reward goes to Larry Yingling. This 67, as well as the 08, are about to be having the biggest power move surge due to they probably should have been back around 13th or 14th position. Now we'll be inside of the top 10 for the both of them. Wild
stuff to see. I was mind blown to see how that all worked out, but good to see how this restart works. A little bit of gaps there. These drivers not stacking up on that bottom.
Inside, taking it easy. Sora Talmadge Campbell as well as Malik Kuntz on the inside. Green flag is back into the air off Danny Cochran, trying to keep it close between the 0-2 and the 15. They're already 3 wide down into turn number 1, further on back as the picture perfect 180 is back underway. Larry Yingling trying to stop the number 1 of Stovall. Stovall though rips the inside, trying to get by Yingling as they'll be fighting back and forth. The 6 of Justin Smith able to watch the battling to his to his right and behind, as up front Sora looks good, but everywhere else in the field, I mean, Zach, this is getting slightly nerve-wracking for those further on back because of the fact of seeing drivers on this new set of tires, the coldness, the willingness to be pressuring forward. We're running out of laps, and you need to take everything now.
You're exactly right. And what I've seen so far from everybody that's put on tires, it is just cold tires, and they cannot take off right now. They're trying to get some heat in them. It's going to take a few laps before we see the advantage, but I tell you, once the heat gets there, expect big speed from the 4 tires.
But with the fact of these cold tires and some of the drivers trying to attack immediately, it's checked up. Majority of the field, they're not able to stay as close as they want. And some of those drivers trying to take advantage are just mired back in 18th and 20th position. Up front, gonna be seeing Jackson Anderson. He's still in 7th place. Larry Yingling gonna be stuck on the inside. They are still trapped 7th, 8th, 9th on back. There just wasn't a lot of green flag racing. You gotta remember, we had 2 quick yellows, so the green flag tire advantage isn't really there. Those that stayed out still have good tires to work with. For Sora, Tallman, Danny Cochran, this is gonna be a duel of those final 10 laps if we stay green on who saved their tires better than others. Anderson moves up into Stovall, and Yingling try to take advantage as this is the battle for 7th place. The top 6 still in line and just holding their breath for the new tires and when they start to roar forward.
Here they go too, because they're split, and Jackson Anderson is now Yingling's going to slide up in front of the 1, and it's going to be close action between them, but he closes the door. But I can tell you, those newer tires, they're going to start to take off here, Will, but they are very loose right now. I'm seeing a lot of drivers fight the rear end when it comes to that, and some stack-ups.
Stovall, big run for himself. Yangling gets tapped into the outside wall. Is Fonseca, Anderson, and others colliding, wrecking the big one off of turn number 4. They're still piling in. Oh no! Miami has just turned into a madhouse here late as some of the front favorites knocked out of this one.
Oh man, and it was just a stack up on that inside lane. The older tires in front of the newer tires. I think Yingling was trying to make sure he doesn't run over the car in front of him. From there, I think Fonseca might have been the driver that just ran in the back of the 67, and just unfortunately it's gonna upset this race car here. But you're gonna see here just close racing. I mean, that's Malik Kuntz right there in the 33. Yingling's gonna slide up right in front of the 1, get pushed down this back straightaway here, and from here I thought Yingling would make the decision here as the new tires to go high here, maybe try to go around the tires. He follows in behind, gets kind of stuck there with the 33 hitting the inside line, checks up, and unfortunately Fonseca going to hit once, and then unfortunately I don't think he can get checked up in time because Yingling's going to correct back to the right, and right there just going to be a major one.
And everyone's sliding up, and there's just more piling in late. Multiple drivers just piling. I mean, Rex even further back than there should. There's Garcia just getting ran over by Clapp, and there's gonna be seeing Aaron Kralik sliding across. I mean, this was a madhouse wreck. Already gonna be Anderson out of this race. He left immediately. Tyler Horn sits in pit road with major damage. Ollie Fonseca required damage for the 24. And that's already major front runners that are out of this thing. Justin Campbell not going to be forced into pit road. Ryan Kelly and everyone practically from 11th on back having to get repairs done. As you hop on board with another look from a different driver's point of view, this is what Garcia saw in front of him. And there really wasn't anything to see.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't tell anything was going on unless you had communications from drivers ahead. Like, you know, that's where, real life spotters and stuff come in such a handy of kind of being your eyes ahead. And unfortunately for Garcia, I mean, he can't look through the cars. There's no x-ray vision. So, yeah, that was a tough break for a few of these guys, and just got to swallow the pill of, well, wrong place, wrong time.
As more drivers just sit in pit road and wait for where they'll line up. There's just a pile slam of Ryan Bird, and there's just a lot of drivers not sure where or how to slow down in time. There was zero communication of their wrecking on the inside. It was just run into the madhouse and hope that you weren't involved. As Joshua Stovall going to be the first driver with the freshest of tires. He was on the outside, first one to be out there, just scaving away from that madness, and he's going to be starting in 6th place here as those newer tires were just starting to warm up and have a chance to fight up front. We're waiting for the choose. This should be our choose at this line, but Vincent Sora going to be going low. Talmadge goes low. Danny Cochran goes high. So the 02 and the 15 going to be the 2 drivers leading up front. But Zach, a couple of drivers of note. Malik Kutz, who had contact in that wreck, he's going to be in 5th place. Nolan Hicks, who we saw under a commercial break when we were at 40 laps to go, he fell all the way back to 20th. He's now back into the top 5. Stovall's there with fresh rubber. Chris Stitz, he got a little bit of contact from that wreck, but Zach, seeing your pick, he's in the top 10 here late. Shelly, who we saw have a big wreck, he's also going to be up front getting ready for this restart. And Cedric Hunter, the major trouble, disconnected, went 2 laps down. He's inside of the top 10 with a chance here. I mean, Clapp, who was involved in that wreck, there's a lot of drivers that are still fighting for everything they've got, even with their struggles they've had this evening.
I mean, look at Kanata. He's right outside the top 10 once again, like it was Atlanta. Next thing you know, he'll be on the podium, like for if something happens. So this is what it's all about, man. This is really, really what it's all about. Lights still, of course, are on the pace car, so we'll still have another lap around here. But it is definitely going to be an interesting into this one. Stovall going to be the first one on that fresh set, and I'm telling you, that man's going to send it. So we're going to watch definitely some interesting moves being made. I look at someone like even Isaac Shelley, who was caught up in something early. He's so good at ripping the wall, going high where drivers aren't. He might have a great opportunity. Same for Stitz. Cedric Hunter, I mean, where did he come from? His car's all fixed up now too. You got Stephen Clapp looking for a top 10 here. I mean, this is storybook endings, and that's what happens at the end of these races, man. We see how they work out, and in a league that has no stage points and no stage bonuses, it is all about the finish. Consistency is everything, and these drivers who wreck out of these races are getting paid nothing, while these drivers who, maybe running farther back late or early in the race come out and finish well, they get really paid off from a race like this.
I mean, you also got to think of the debut class that entered tonight. You've got Patrick Hernandez as well as Maurice Gilmillion. They are just inside of the top 10. I mean, top 15 for the both of them, as they've been just taking whatever they can. So far, Mark Lavertone, who's caught in a wreck earlier, he's going for a top 20. There could be career days for some drivers here this evening. But we do know there's still a lot of racing left. We've got 15 laps to go. Going to be 14 when we go green here. Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, they wait for that green flag to wave once again here tonight for the Picture Perfect 180 presented by cnorrisphoto.com. Go check out cnorrisphotos.com to go see the great photos that Christopher Norris has taken for sports and all the journeys that he's found himself going on. Green flag is out. It's going to be Shelley already brushing the outside wall, but up front, it's the 15:02:27. Who can take the march up front, or can someone else be the stealer here late? Stovall is already attempting that outside wall run, and here we go, Zach, down on the backstretch.
Here we go, Sam. I tell you what, Danny Cochran timed that restart perfectly, was able to launch right with the 15, and he's going to have the advantage of the outside here. He's going to pinch down this 15 and watch for the 27 to Talmadge. He's going to look to open that door up and maybe go to the inside or outside. So this is about to get busy.
And I know we got a lot of Stovall fans out there. That one machine runs in 7th, still one of the highest runners of those with fresh rubber. The highest runner, 5th place on the inside. It's the 17 of Chris Stitz, who's taking his march, taking his fight. As out of the outside is going to be Shelley once again, who just continues to falter backwards for the 98. But Stitz, Knoll, as well as seeing the one of Stovall. That 86 is trying to block every single part of the track as the 13 trying their best to move forward as Danny Cochran, about to be 12 laps to go. What a day it could be for the O2, Zach. I mean, Danny has been having so many woes that we've watched here for the last couple of years on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. What a change it could be. Race 3 of a season to get back into victory lane.
It would be huge. I talked to this driver after last week at Atlanta. He felt like he was in the perfect opportunity to win once he got through with those new tires up to that top 5 spot. Off of 4 had the wreck happen, and it was just a gut-wrenching feeling for that 0-2, and tonight could be the way for redemption right here as he's trying to keep them side by side below here and help his teammate out with Jared Thomas behind.
And fastest lap, it's your hot lap designs fastest lap. It's Justin T. Campbell, who just pitted for fresh rubber that last caution. He has the freshest tires, mired back in 12th place. He's got a load of cars to get by before he can try to battle for this lead position. It might be too far for him to even have a chance to fight for the win. Well, a bonus point could be gifted for the 66 with that fastest lap being put down. As up front, it's still the 0-2 Danny Cochran, but here comes the surge back in 3rd place. It's the 17 of Chris Stitz. I mean, this could be another driver that could just have a complete change for a career that we've seen recently. Just have heartbreak after heartbreak. Can never avoid a carnage. But here tonight, in the top 3 with some of the best tires to watch out for.
Here he goes, man, and this is going to be Jared Thomas trying his best. Don't let the 17 get too quickly up there. But look at this. Stitz able to run that outside. He's going to cut low here on the exit 2 and have a big run as there's 86 Hicks into the inside wall.
Hicks is broken. He's coming back up on the track. He'll keep the nose still pointed straight. He's got to coast all the way around this course. We continue to stay green. Now the battle for 2nd place. Chris Stitz, he muscles his way into 2nd place, but Vincent Sora trying to fight to help his teammate win. Sora playing gunner for Danny Cochran with just 9 laps, about to be 8 laps to go.
It's going to be so close. Look at the 15 on the door of this 17, not allowing him to have any opportunity here. He wants to be able to hold him back. He knows he is the only shot that Cochran has here to hold this back. And if anything, they need to watch out also for Campbell. He's up to 8th and almost working the outside of these other drivers.
Campbell's up to 8th. Stovall's just moved up to that 3rd lane. The 1 is starting to get heat in the tires. He's starting to find the runs, but he's mired back in 5th place. Still a few drivers he has to get by before he can start fighting for those top positions, as well as looking at some other drivers that are trying to make some big moves. Cedric Hunter, big woes moments. It's now Talmadge going to be limping his way to the outside lane. Tall going to be seeing Campbell trying to drop low to get by the 27. We continue to stay green as Talmadge just floats and flutters as he's going backwards. Seeing some other drivers that had some weird days today. Stephen Clapp, he's got a chance for a top 10 run for the 2 machine that was having some woes earlier on. Caught up in the big one, but they continue to race this one out. Cochran leads. 2nd place, still Sora.
And I tell you what, don't watch out for the 13 of Cedric Hunter. He at one point was disconnected from this race. It looks like he may be trying to pass for a top 4 spot right now as he's to the inside of this one machine of Stovall. Just couldn't clear there for enough, but he's had enough of a run here to stay side by side with the enter 1. This 13, he's showing good speed right now.
6 laps to go, and it is the top 2. Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora. The teammates are trying to find a way to hold back the threat of the fresh rubber. Everyone is set up to have a chance to fight, and they're going to be 3 wide, battling for his position of 4th place. It's Campbell. He's got over 24 lap fresher tires that are top 2. Can he find a way to get by? He gets by Hunter. Stovall's trying to fight as well to get by, but it's now going to be just a simple 4 laps to go for Cochran, Sora, but Campbell is fighting Zach for this 66 machine.
That he is, and Stitz there back to the inside of the 15 here, going to stay side by side down the back straightaway, but this might open up the door for Campbell to get to the quarter panel of the 17 to have a pass there. And if the 15 focuses too much on the 17, he's going to open up this door for the 66 to have a big run off of 4.
What run will Campbell have? Is there enough space for him to utilize this run, or will he stay boxed in and just push the 15? He's going to be pinched. He's going to be boxed. Not for now. He'll drop to the inside. Campbell is clear for 2nd, and Cochran's right there. Cochran is faltered back. He's fallen to the clutches of the 66. Newsom's going to be slow on the inside, but here comes another run by Campbell. He took the tires. He restarted back in 16th. He's now in 2nd, Zach, and he's right there with a chance to take the leader off of 4.
Cochran looks like he's losing a little bit of pace here late in this go, and he's got to slide up quickly because here comes the 66 with a head of steam, and they're going to be side by side here going down the 1 with 3 to go.
No block, no chance. Campbell's got too many better tires. He ships it to the outside. And Justin T. Campbell, he's going to be seen to the inside. It's Jesse Thornock. He'll stay low. But the 66, there is no threat in his mirror. He's got the better tires than anyone. And what a surge for himself. 12 laps. He went from 16th all the way up to the 1st place position. Now look up to the flag stand with 2 laps to go.
There's Vincent Sora. He can't wait no longer for his teammate at Cochran. He has to go in go mode, and Cochran goes up the track. He's going to cover off the 17 of Stitz, but I think Sora quickly going to move here in a second as Stitz now looks to follow him through, but the big run from the top from the 0-2 allows them to race side by side here as Campbell loves what he's seeing in the mirror.
Be a wall, don't let anyone by. Stitz just is trying every single move, but Justin Campbell, he's trying his best. He's crossed his fingers. He's seen the unlucky moments, but tonight he gets to see the Morecast white flag flying up in the air. The Justin T. Campbell just sets the coast for one more lap to be a victor in the Trinity Racing League.
That he does. Campbell called it right. He took the gamble and made it work. What a call from this 66. It's going to be a storybook win here to start the season.
Campbell entered tonight 32nd in points. It was just heartbreak after heartbreak. Finished 25th at Daytona, 31st last week in Atlanta, but his third race in the Trinity Racing League. Campbell is a winner of the picture perfect 180 here tonight.
What a race, a strategy call that just got it done. He's going to be so excited after that. Cochran going to be heartbroken with the second place finish. Stinson hangs on the third, Stinson fourth, and Cedric Hunter comes in with the top 5. If you'd have told him that, he would have said you're crazy.
I mean, there's a lot of like, how did they get their moments similar to last week? I mean, Justin Smith comes away 7th, a driver that has struggled as well. Stephen Clapp, who was caught up in the big one and with a lot of damage, comes away 8th. Kanata comes away top 10. Malik Kutza was caught up in that last wreck that brought out a yellow. He comes away 3rd here tonight. But ultimately, it's Justin T. Campbell. The threat of speed has always been there, but it's the luck to make it to the end. Well, he lucks out on a stretchy call earlier in the race. We thought it was diabolical. It was a mistake that he made late here tonight. He had the tires and had the speed. Victory calls for Campbell, and for us, we will step away. When we come back, we'll talk to Justin Campbell, Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora, and a spotlight driver right after this. We'll be back for the post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Arts Production. Season 1, the inaugural season, has given us already now 3 spectacular races. The first 2 came down to overtime attempts. Here tonight, it was tire strategy as Justin Campbell takes the gamble on tires, and it works out for himself to get into victory lane. We bring in the 66 machine of Justin Campbell. Justin, what a run for yourself there late. Took the chance on taking new tires there. We didn't know if there was enough time, but you made it work, as well as getting the Hot Lap Designs fastest lap of the race. Bonus point. Congratulations on that. But man, how are you feeling coming away with victory here at Homestead?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, just kind of played it safe the entire race, be honest. Didn't think getting new tires with I think it was 15 to go. Did not think it was going to work out for me, but with 6 laps to go, sitting in 7th, and everybody started slowing up, so I just started ripping the top or wherever they weren't running.
That you definitely did, Justin, man. Congrats on the win. That was a heck of a drive. I mean, like you said, with about 6 to go, you notice they started definitely slowing up. I mean, did you have even the faith at 10 to go when you kind of caught up to the back of that pack? Because when we noticed you ran the fast lap of the race, we were like, he might have an opportunity at this point. We just knew there was a lot of cars to get around. Were you surprised you were able to do that as quickly?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised myself, but I just knew with 10 to go, like, I got fresher tires, might as well put it to its limits, and that's what I did. And luckily it held off.
It certainly did, Justin. I know for this league, we saw you run in the ISRC Truck Series before, and now we're in the Xfinity car. Early in the season, you had a rough first 2 races. How does this win help you propel your momentum forward, knowing that we've got Iowa, Kentucky, and Chicago Street Course right in front of us?
Just still keep doing the same thing I'm doing, just playing my cards right at the beginning and just try and be there at the end. That's all I can really say.
Sounds like a solid strategy to go for. Well, Justin, once again, congratulations on winning the Picture Perfect 180 here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Just thank you to my teammates for working on strategy throughout the race. I know I kind of bailed out on them at the beginning, but at least a team member got a win out of it tonight.
Absolutely. Well, that will be the 66 machine of Justin T. Campbell coming away with the win here for race number 3 of the season. Enjoy it, Justin, and good luck next week at Iowa.
Thank you.
As we move from victory lane, we head down to second place to talk to the O2, who gets the second place position of Danny Cochran. And Danny, congratulations. You will be taking the award of Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the day, up 28 spots from where you qualified here this evening. But how are you feeling coming away second here? Because, man, this Xfinity car, it seems to be right in your wheelhouse with another fantastic finish.
Yeah, I mean, all I really know to say right now is just second sucks. You know, we were really solid all night. Picked up some crazy track position, and felt like we had the car to win it, the strategy to win it. And you know, I saw the 66 pit behind me when we were getting into those, like, that cycle of cautions toward the end. I seen him pit. I thought about it, but I didn't do it because I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to make up that much ground. And then lo and behold, with 2 laps to go, here he is. But yeah, we've been close every single week. Daytona, we were leading the inside line on the white flag. I don't even want to talk about Atlanta. If the guys watched Atlanta, I don't even want to talk about that. And tonight, felt like we had the car and the strategy to win it, and then just got kind of ripped from us there in the last couple laps. So yeah, man. I mean, the cars are fun to drive. I'm enjoying the new series, but dude, we've been on the short end of the stick a lot here, feels like.
Definitely the short end of the stick here once again tonight, Danny. But I will say this, man, there was only 2 drivers coming into tonight with top 5 and a top 10 in both races, and it was you and Jared Talmadge. Well, there's only one tonight that keeps that title. So, you know, the consistency, like you said, you've been close there each time, but the consistency's been there. How does it feel to start your season with this type of, like, momentum and kind of just, you know, the forward outlook?
Yeah, you know, that is the positive takeaway from it all, is that normally when I come into a season, I'm having to dig myself out of a hole because we usually start pretty slow. But Seems like with this one we fired off well. We've been in a position to potentially go 3 for 3 if things fell our way. But that's the bright side of it, right? Is that like you said, it's something to build on, and we're kind of sitting in a good spot. And I'm thinking I might be the points leader. I don't know, but we're for sure way too early to think about playoffs. But we've been getting bonus points and we've been stacking those up. So I really like where we're at. Just got to keep building on it, got to keep the momentum up.
I mean, looking at it, Danny, just from a quick glance, unofficially, I believe you would become the points leader after where you finished, where Vinny finished, and all the bonus points that were grabbed. But man, it has been fun to see you racing up front and being this competitive. We've got a couple of tracks ahead of us that I feel like you should be someone to watch out for as we're heading to Iowa, Kentucky, and Chicago Street Course. What is your feelings on these upcoming three as we're going to a short track, back to a mile and a half, and then to a road course here in the middle of the regular season?
I really like I really like Kentucky and Iowa. I feel good about those. Kentucky, I usually done well there in the trucks. Iowa plays into my wheelhouse pretty well, just how it drives. But Chicago, I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't even downloaded that track yet. So that's going to be something I'm going to have to figure out sometime in the coming weeks. But I think we'll figure it out. Historically, we run pretty well on road courses. If I can just come out of there with a top 5, I'm going to be happy with that. So as long as nothing crazy happens between now and then, I'm going to be pretty okay. But other than that, I know I've spent enough time complaining here, but on the brighter side of things, yeah, I'm pretty excited for at least two of the 3 of those races.
Well, Danny, it's been awesome to see you see success. I know not victory, which is ultimately what you want, but it's been awesome to see you have these great runs. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
All right, my teammates, of course, always doing their best around me. I know Vinny was playing tail gunner pretty hard there when I believe it was a 17, had a little bit fresher tires than us. He got around Talmadge, and then I know Vinny was playing tail gunner, so big shout out to him. Thomas, I know he didn't have the night that he wanted. He ran into some pretty pitiful luck there. So appreciate those guys hanging out and continuing to show up week after week. Consistency's key. I think we're looking good for team points now too. Beyond that, Larry, hey, we finally got a Larry Arts production car back on the podium here again, which is pretty cool. He's had a really good start to the season for his drivers and his cars, so I'm happy to be able to continue that streak of podiums. Also ran a special scheme this week. It's the Larry Art Productions Midnight scheme based off the Baja Midnight that he done a Larry Tries video on over the weekend. So you guys should definitely go check that out if you haven't already. And of course, the league admins, Josh and Nick, doing a fantastic job. I've had so much fun in the series so far. I know Daytona week was a blast because we got to see some bump day stuff, which was pretty cool. People having to qualify in. That kind of had me on the edge of my seat. And you had guys who historically ran really well, like Cedric, who shout out Cedric. He ran really well tonight. I'm happy to see his luck turn around, but he went home and it was just really nail-biting stuff. So I had a blast watching that all come out, and I don't think anybody's still safe at this point, maybe after tonight, of being locked in on points. So if we still get 44, 45 drivers show up, we're still going to be spinning people home, which is really cool to see. So they're doing a fantastic job. And last, and of course not least, you guys for putting on an awesome show week in, week out. Super stoked to be racing with you guys on Monday night still, even though ISRC's shut its doors for the time being. So I'm really happy to keep that going.
We are so happy when you give us such a show to call. Danny, congratulations on second. Enjoy this one, and good luck next week at Iowa.
Thanks, guys.
As we move from second place position, we go down to Danny's teammate, third place runner in the 15 machine of Vincent Sora. It might be a 1-2 in the points for these two drivers. We're hoping for a 1-2 finish here this evening. Vinny, you come away third, but man, what a valiant effort on your part trying to help Danny get a win there late. How are you feeling coming away with third here tonight?
Yeah, I feel good. It's a little bit frustrating just the way things kind of happen there. I feel like definitely the second league race in the last week that I've lost on just kind of not making the right pit call or a tire lottery, so or whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. I don't think I would have won there regardless. Danny absolutely punked me on that last restart. Yeah, I was just terrible on the short run all night. He timed it perfectly, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like everybody else is so much better than me at getting to the limit on their tires when they're still cold, and I really only come to life like 25, 30 laps into a run, and unfortunately tonight I was only able really to shine a couple times because we just couldn't go as long as I wanted to. But yeah, I had good speed. At the end, my priorities changed there, just trying to help Danny get into victory lane. And yeah, unfortunately, just the 66 was too fast there. The tires made too much of a difference. But yeah, I mean, I'm still happy with the P3. I had a rough one last week. I didn't really have any good speed, and I put myself in the fence and gave myself damage. So hopefully this gets me back up into the points, and I have a good week next week.
Definitely another excellent run from you, Vinny. I mean, strength once again on the long runs. And how has the adaptation still been to this Xfinity car? Because we're seeing some things that we've seen in the past work, such as taking tires like a Justin Campbell did there to come through the field. I mean, how is that taken into the mindset now?
Yeah, I think I still have a long way to go before I have these things figured out. Even though I have, I feel like race winning speed. I still just personally, there's a lot of things that I'll notice myself do, or I'll notice the car do, and I'm like, all right, I need to get better. And yeah, one of those things was the tires. Even though I didn't make the right call at the end, we saw Larry take tires last week, and he was able to charge through the field early, even though we didn't have too many laps on him. So tonight, that was what kind of influenced me to make the call early on, like lap 15 or whenever. I was like, it's only a 120 lapper. I was like, if I pit here, I'll be able to cycle out to the front at some point. And I was like, then, I mean, we really only need like one more run, and I don't think it'll turn into a situation where I'm down a set of tires from anybody else. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm trying to learn and pick up on. And there's definitely a handful of other things that I got to go to the drawing board and try to get better at.
Well, Vinny, I know that speed, long run pace seems to be like you've noted on your strength. It was fun to watch you trying to be how you were faster than everyone there late. Looking at the schedule, there's a lot of races where there's a variety of long races and shorter races. Are you concerned by looking at the schedule and seeing the variety of laps being different at some of these 1.5 mile tracks or short tracks that might take away from your long run pace that you'll have later in the season?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's definitely tough. I think ultimately what it comes down to is just us kind of trying to figure out what's going on. It seems like deeper in the field to get all these yellows, because I know I didn't see even one wreck all night. So I was fortunate to be up at the front, of course. But yeah, it seems like the wrecks are just what hurt me, because like you said, I need the long runs. Just looking at the schedule, though, I think Iowa will be a good track for me if we can go green. Kentucky as well. And then Chicago Street, that's going to be an interesting one because I'm not super familiar with how these cars race on road courses, but it should be fun. Yeah, I don't know. I think ultimately comes down to the way guys race around each other to prevent yellows, and just kind of how the green flag cycles fall.
Well, Vinny, we're excited to see how you perform at these upcoming tracks. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, definitely first off, Justin for making the right call there and getting the win. Pretty cool to see him get back into victory lane. Shout out to Danny. I did everything I could for him there, and it was really painful to watch the 66 drive around us like we were tied to a tree, because I was really pulling for Danny there. Shout out to Larry. I had a lot of fun battling him. I think if that one run would have went green, it would have been probably an all-time battle to finish, and I think he ended up getting caught up in a mess, so that sucks for him. Shout out to all my teammates. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting, and then all the admins over here that make it possible.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. Vinny, congratulations on third. Enjoy it, and good luck next week as we head to Iowa.
Thank you, guys. See you on Wednesday.
As we get to see these drivers back out on track at Iowa next week. Excited for it. Before we get to that, a talking format, we got to go talk to a driver that comes away here with a top 10 finish. Take it away, top 5 for the 13 Hello Kitty machine, who at one moment had to throw his vehicle into the inside wall, went 2 laps down, got the cautions that were needed, and then scampers away for a 5th place finish. At one moment, thought it could have been a threat for the win. Cedric, what a roller coaster that was. How are you feeling coming away 5th after a night that started horrendously terrible?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I mean, like you said, it was a roller coaster ride of emotions throughout that race. Obviously with the VR kind of just fully shutting down there with like lap 20 or something, and I mean, obviously I couldn't see anything, so I had no choice to kind of just turn it slightly left until I eventually heard a crunch, and then I could tow it from there and had to restart everything. But um, battled back. Got really lucky, obviously, with like a decent amount of cautious tonight, and the racing for Lucky Dog taught me a lot about short run pace and like what I needed to do to be competitive and be quick. And then I just once I got to the lead lap, it was just game on from there. So super fortunate, obviously, with the top five. Felt like, I mean, maybe if I didn't go 2 laps down to start off the race and I actually stayed in the top 15 the entire race, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I could have maybe went for a win. Obviously, it would have played out differently, but um, top five's a great run.
Definitely a great run after that catastrophe like we've talked about on the front straight. How do you take the mindset there, Cedric, to come back from something like that? I mean, most people would probably take that and call it quits for the night, but you went back out there, reset your stuff, got back out there 2 laps down, and still stayed, focused to get back to here. I mean, you had to definitely try very hard still to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start with anybody out there that's watching or listening. If you're thinking about, you know, running iRacing or you're thinking about buying a VR, I strongly recommend against it. It's not very good software, and I can't wait to get rid of it. I think that if I didn't miss Daytona or didn't qualify into Daytona and run that race, I probably would have just hung it up for tonight and just gone to do something else. But I kind of need the points, so I figured even if I end up running multiple laps down, like if I can get a top 30, I guess it'll be better than nothing. So I'm glad that I stuck around, and uh, you know, then I'm happy to get top five again. So yeah, I'll take it.
I mean, we're happy you stuck around as well, Cedric. It was fun to watch this pink Hello Kitty machine climb his way through the field all throughout the night. But we got some tough tracks ahead of us. Iowa, going to be Kentucky, and then the Chicago Street Course are our next three. What's the confidence level knowing we're heading to a short track, mile and a half again, and then our first street course we get to see on this with the Trinity Racing League?
Yeah, I feel like Iowa's kind of hit or miss for me. Depends on, I guess, how it's gonna drive. I feel like I can probably, or at least hopefully, get like a top 10 there. Mile and a half's been pretty good for me, but Kentucky is not on tracks that I would say I enjoy. So we'll go there and do the best that we can. And again, I hope for a top five that kind of, or a top 10, sorry, that kind of seems where top 15 to top five is kind of my running pace in this league right now. And when it comes to the road courses, I have no idea. There's obviously a lot of guys that are really good on road courses, and I've never actually ran Chicago, the street course. So from watching it on TV and stuff like that, I know it's a really tight track, and so you can't really make a lot of mistakes. And if there's something I'm known for, it's kind of making mistakes. So I'm not very confident going into there, but I don't know. I think if we put runs or unexpected runs like we have been for the last 2 weeks, I think that we still got a really good chance to make the playoffs, and we're just going to keep improving as the season goes on.
I can't wait to see it. Cedric, congratulations on the rebound here this evening. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, huge shout out to my team, Team 81. Josh for getting another top 10. It was a great run from him tonight. Shout out to Zach for making the beautiful scheme that I'm running for this series. And shout out to you guys for everything you guys do.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. That will be the 13 machine of Cedric Hunter coming away fifth here tonight. Congratulations, Cedric, on that finish, and good luck next week at Iowa.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
As we move away from our interviews here tonight, we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results of our third race of the season of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Lariat Productions. Your picture perfect 180, presented by cnorrisphoto.com. I mean, what a run, what a charge. 15 laps left in the race, and he took a gamble, took fresh tires, marched from around 16th, 17th, all the way up to first. It's Justin T. Campbell taking the victory here tonight, being the third different winner of the season. Danny Cochran, I mean, like Zach said, he is the only driver that has finished inside of the top 5 and top 10 for every race this season. He stands alone, but it's still no win. The O2, you got a feeling it's coming here quickly. Vincent Sora, he was also wanting to get back into victory lane, but a third place finish ain't bad for the 15 machine that was trying to play gunner for Danny. Chris Stitz, Zach's pick, comes away 4th. What a run for himself. Cedric Hunter was 2 laps down at one moment. Had to throw himself into the wall because his VR system went locked up on him, but takes 5th place here tonight. Fan favorite Joshua Stovall gonna get 6th. Justin Smith, what a run for himself, 7th. 8th, Stephen Clapp. He was one of those drivers that we had listed as a maybe spotlight driver to talk to. We hope for him to have another incredible run for the 2 machine. Joshua Kanata, top 10, and finishing out our top 10 here tonight, it is the 33 of Malik Kuntz. But Zach, I mean, there were a lot of other drivers that could have had better days for themselves.
Definitely could have had better days, but got to give a shout to some of the new guys who showed up here tonight. You know, Maurice Gomillion finishing in 15th position, Patrick Hernandez able to bring home a 17th place finish there. So great job by the crew, but definitely some tough finishes for others. You know, we looked at Isaac Shelley, had some newer tires. He got caught up in some stuff, finished back in 19th. But I think one of the biggest ones right there in 23rd, the 67 of Larry Yingling. We saw how fast he was tonight, battling the likes of Vincent Sora at times, and just couldn't bring it home after that incident earlier. Same for the likes of Ali Fonseca back there in 31st, caught up in the same incident those two were, and that was just a tough end to 2 strong race cars tonight as you look through the rest of the order. And also Jackson Anderson finishing back in 34th. That's tough for him, who was leading earlier in this race. So it shows you can be up front right in the middle of everything right at the beginning, but all it takes is one incident and you're back here sitting outside the top 30 because of this giant field.
One big wreck and you could find yourself being out of this, but 41 drivers took the green. And it's impressive to see the field has grown in this inaugural season of the Trinity Racing League. It's been a pleasure to give you the call so far. But if you want to see other great racing action throughout the week, well, we've got you covered Wednesday nights. It is the WSSR VRS Cup Series. The next-gen vehicles head into round number 2, the round of 12. As they go into their first race of the round, we already eliminated 4 drivers, and 12 enter into Charlotte. The first race to figure out who's going to set the tone, set the pace to try to make the Elite 8. Iowa going to be race number 2 for that series. You don't want to miss out. That first round was crazy to see who's going to make it in or out. It came down to that last race at Chicagoland last week, and it was a test of survival on who was going to make it into the next round of the playoffs. Zach, I'm excited for Wednesday nights. That is going to be a fun race. I know you might be a little nervous, as Charlotte can be a tough one, especially with the new update that came out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the car is going to race there. You know, it was interesting to see how it raced at Chicagoland. You know, the previous few weeks we talked about dirty air, how bad it's been. Last week it was actually pretty nice to be in the dirty with how loose the race car was. So it'll be interesting to see if Charlotte's similar to that. I know Homestead has a similar feel too to that. So it could very well be an interesting race where you can't kind of get away from each other, and those ones make some pretty interesting ones because these last few weeks, Wednesday nights, I feel like every week the finish has just been wild.
And that's what's going to be this week is Charlotte. Next week, get ready. It's Iowa week. We've got Iowa for the Trinity Racing League and Iowa for the WSSR. You don't want to miss out on that great racing action. But tonight, I want to give big kudos to that 66 machine taking the gamble of taking the tires there late. And with it staying green, it gave them the chance to head into victory lane and win the picture perfect 180 here tonight. But for ourselves, we want to say thank you to joining with us on your Monday evening. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else that helps out here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It was a pleasure to give you the racing action of this league and also on Wednesday nights with the WSSR. We want to say thank you to all those that are just watching, those that chat, those that like, those that subscribe. We appreciate all of the support to the drivers and for the product that we put out here on Mondays and Wednesday nights. We want to say if you want to see more great racing action, we got you covered next week at Iowa for the Trinity Racing League. But if you can't wait until then for these Xfinity vehicles, we've got some other great racing action. It's the start of the round of 12, the second round of the playoffs. WSSR Wednesday night is your destination, as we will see you then for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.